Nation.
Hello, friends. You're now listening to the lifestyle, leisure, and sports show you never knew was two of those things.
I think we can all acknowledge that if this fails, you two will be fired and I will remain. So, no pressure.
Bo Bishop, a regional media icon, winner of Emmys, purveyor of the good life.
Sir, you don't know that for a fact.
I just said it on the radio.
Also, two guys this company named Employee of the Month.
What are you talking about?
Paul Hogan is Hulk Hogan's brother. Look it up.
Because it's Hulk Hogan. That's his real name.
One guy is from Australia. The other one is from Tampa.
And he's from Hollywood, brother.
Not brothers. Chops.
Yes, they are.
This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. ESPN senior college football writer Jake Trotter going to join us at 10:30, as he customarily does every single week. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas at 971-BFS. Get your officially endorsed at the end of the program as well on this fine First Friday edition of the program. I saw the video AR put up yesterday from his time at Channel 6. It was him and Clay, and he was at the Final Four in '99 and was got to play like one-on-one with Bill Walton. It was really cool to see it. It was really cool that he had access to it. It made me think about the things that I had saved through the years, through my time in local television, and where it is. And I was telling my wife, I'm not exactly sure. I know I have like a shoebox full of DVC Pro tapes. Now, you probably wouldn't even know what a DVC Pro is, but it was the type of camera I used to shoot news on when I was in that business for the better part of 15 years. And so I know I have a box of those somewhere, but I would have no idea how to convert those over to anything else. And I do remember when I left both Channel 10 and WCTV down in Tallahassee, I made like a hard drive full of stuff that was special to me. But the reason that I wanted to I talk about this just briefly off the top was what it reminded me of. And AR and I were going back and forth about this this morning when I saw his post. There was a time when Anchorman wasn't far off. Truly. There was a time when I was in college and aspiring to figure out what I was going to do with my life, that even in small market Billings, Montana, the guys who were the main sports guys, they lived a hell of a life. I mean, they really did. I mean, they were kind of celebrities. They would go to the NFR, the National Finals Rodeo down in Vegas. They'd go down there for like 10 days, and they'd put them up at the Mirage, and they would have all these reports. And even like at high school football games, like you'd walk right in onto the field, and the athletic director would come shake your hand and ask you if you wanted anything to eat or drink. And then there was a place called Gussex in Billings, Montana, that you'd all congregate, like all the important people in town would congregate, and you'd have cocktails. I remember in college thinking, like, this seems like the best life ever. And then I had a buddy who I worked with in Billings, who went to Illinois State, and he had done an internship with Mark Giangreco, who was a longtime sports director in Chicago, I believe at Channel 7. And so in spring, I went out there for like a week, and we hung around Chicago and kind of palled around, and then went and kind of shadowed Mark for a day as he was doing his job. And this was in, I think, my junior year, and Mark would get in. I could be wrong a little bit on some of these times, but he would basically get in about 45 minutes before the sportscast. He would look over a sportscast that was written for him by a producer, that was shot by a photographer, that was reported on by a reporter. He would look over it, do some tweaks, and then he would do it. As soon as he was done, so he'd be in the facility there for about 45 minutes, at least the days I was there, be there for about 45 minutes. And then, like, for example, if the Bulls were playing, and this was when Jordan was with the Bulls, he would then drive to the United Center and go to the games. And at that time, press wasn't in the nosebleeds. Press was courtside. Right? Because that's how, like, the NCAA is the only one that still does it this way. If you watch the NCAA tournament, men's or women's, you will see press is still courtside at the NCAA. So he would go courtside, watch the Bulls, whatever. Sometimes he'd go home for dinner. And then they had 10 o'clock news in Chicago, so he would roll back in probably about 20 to 10, and then he would do the news, and that was it. And for that, he made upwards of 7 figures. And you went, well, I remember thinking to myself, it's the best damn job in the history of the world. Like, you didn't even need, we all aspired, if you're 40 and you were in that business like we were all trying to get into. Yeah, we aspired to be Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann on SportsCenter, or for me, Craig Kilborn, because he went to Montana State. You aspired to be that. But there was also this incredible life as like a local champ kind Ron Burgundy, where you were just a big shot in a big city, or even a medium-sized city, and having the time of your life. When I first got to Tallahassee, we had 7 people in the sports department. I didn't shoot anything. Only thing I had to do was write my sportscast. That was it. And that was Market 110. All I had to do was write a sportscast. Everything else was done. People reported things. I used to show up on Mondays and interview Bobby Bowden. So, and that was just a regular thing. I'd go to his house a lot of times and interview him at his house every Monday because it was what you did. When I first got here at Channel 10, we had 10 people in sports. We used to fly private. The dispatch guys flew private to the games. We would fly day of game. It was Channel 10, the newspaper, and us at the Fan, and we would fly to the games private and cover the games and then fly back private. It was just such a completely different world than what it's become. And a big reason that it shifted, common sense first and foremost. Like I think there was kind of the reality of the expense of it all. But then the other part was that we started to get our news from a billion different sources as opposed to like one voice of God. And in these individual markets, you had individual voices of God, but you also had these national voices of God, Rather, Jennings, Brokaw, like all these guys and for a previous generation, Cronkite and those guys. So you had all of that stuff started to change, but it was really the internet that flipped it. The reason that AR got that interview with Bill Walton is because there probably weren't that many people covering the Final Four. There really weren't. You had the national people, sure, and that was pretty big. But locally, it was probably Channel 6, Channel 4, Channel 10, a couple of guys from the Dispatch, a columnist, us at radio. That's it.
Yeah. That's
it. There wasn't 11 Warriors. There wasn't Bucknuts. There wasn't Letterman Row. There wasn't any of that. None of that was there at that time. So it was so easy to get the access that you had. I mean, the amount of people, I was thinking about this last night when I saw his video. Like, I've interviewed Muhammad Ali and Hank Aaron, and I remember, there's more than I can count. Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, billions. Like, when my kids are like, oh, yeah, you talked to Tiger? Yeah, I talked to Tiger Woods one-on-one. Like, that stuff was regular. And I was in small markets. I wasn't at WNBC. I was in a small market, and I'd have access to Hank Aaron if you wanted it. It was nuts. And I don't even think AR and I were talking about this morning. We probably weren't even the golden age. That would be more like Dom would have had that.
Yeah.
Like in the 80s and 90s, he would have had that. The real golden age of it. But it was pretty damn good.
Burgundy comes from. It's the 1970s. That's why they put it in that decade.
There's no question. I would think it would probably, the golden age would probably be the 80s. Was probably the height of it.
Well, there was some excess in the 80s for people who were considered dignitaries.
Yeah. No, it's crazy though. And I just was thinking about how we consume information has changed, how we consume journalism or news has changed, and that industry is unrecognizable to what it was. The same would be true of the writers. I mean, because in those days when I first got into it, the writers would look down on us. We were just like prompter jockeys.
Yeah.
We're just pretty boys. Like, we weren't doing real journalism. And then they looked way down on radio. Like, way down. Radio is even another level. I remember, Mike and I have talked about this. Like, radio is like, oh, come on. They're letting you out of the basement to come into the television studio? I mean, it was nuts.
Well, and we've seen that kind of happen, too, with the age of the internet. Originally, sites that were blog sites were looked down upon. And now some of those, especially when you're talking like the sports world, that's some of the main beats of teams. That's, the Dispatch is still around, but like they are definitely on the even footing with those places like Letterman Row, the Dotting the I's with Austin Ward and all those guys, 11 Warriors, all of those kind of sites. And the internet was the first thing that popped in my head because I was alive at a time before the internet was so readily available to everybody, but I was very young. And it's even hard for me to conceptualize in my mind that I guess maybe you could watch SportsCenter and hope your team made the rundown. They covered a lot more games back then.
They covered every game.
It was likely that you would see it, but you'd either have to wait for SportsCenter, wait for your local news, or wait for the paper the next day if you didn't catch the game. Maybe you could call a friend. Remember calling people? You could call a friend and ask him, hey, did you catch the Bulls game tonight? What happened? And then they could recount it to you. But Bo, I mean, do your kids even understand the concept of people used to have discussions or arguments and go, Maybe. I don't know. Nobody's going to the library right now, so we can't look up if Paul Hogan and Hulk Hogan are brothers.
I've instituted a rule. It's funny. I did it this weekend with some buddies. We were trying to. I can't even remember the name of the person we were trying to come up with, but they were going to grab their phone. I'm like, no, we're better than this. Put it down. We'll get it. It'll come to us. Like, we're better than that. So last night we were. NBC and I were having a conversation. Actually, it was about Rambo versus Rocky. He had never seen Rambo First Blood Part 2, and it was on. So we were watching that while keeping an eye on the NBA stuff. And he was like, he had seen Rocky 4 on a plane. And he was like, when he got done watching it, this was over the winter, he was like, Dad, that was awesome. And I'm like, yeah, it is awesome. Like, that's everything you want, Rocky 4, especially for a 12-year-old. You don't need all the, all of the juxtaposition, all what's the word I'm looking for where you, the storytelling. But there's a word for it. You don't need the storytelling in Rocky 1 when you're 12.
Yes.
He's an American. He's a Russian. He killed my buddy. Let's kill him. Let's solve the world problems. Like, that's Rocky 4. I don't need to know about how hard it was or the uncle and punching, halves of cows. Like, I don't need any of that. Like, let's just get to it. So we're watching it last night, and he's like, well, who's tougher, Rambo John Jay or Rocky Balboa? And I said, I feel like it's Rambo. Like, great respect for Rocky, but I'm pretty sure it's Rambo. So I put it on the poll, and Rambo won, growing away like 77%. But then he started asking, well, which movie was more successful? And he wanted to Google it right away. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure Rambo was a monster movie, absolutely monster movie. And so we led to that discussion. So when you ask that question, like, do they live in a world without Google? No, they don't. I will be sitting next to them, and they will say to Peyton will, to his phone, he'll say, what time do the Buckeyes play tonight? And I'm like, I'm right here, 7. They play at 7. But then he'll wait for it to answer it. And I'm like, I'm right here. I can tell you when they play.
I know for a fact that it's 7. Yeah, it's just a different time. It's weird, too. Like, how do you measure success? And you could look all that stuff up on the internet. But, people would know that before the internet, that Rocky won Best Picture. So, like, okay, that's a measure of success. But, yeah, I could totally see Rambo possibly being a bigger box office draw in the moment.
Especially the second one was a bombshell.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one's the better movie. Honestly, First Blood probably should have won the Academy Award. It's better than... first one is unbelievable. There's a lot to it. The second one is just popcorn. It's just total popcorn.
And then was there a middle one before they rebooted it in the 2000? Because there were two. There was one in 2008.
Rocky
and
or Rambo?
Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo goes First Blood, and then it's Rambo First Blood Part 2. Then it's Rocky. Then it's Rambo 3. Where he's in Afghanistan.
Then it's Rambo, the one in 08 or something.
Yeah, and then he did Last Blood.
I think John Rambo. I don't know.
There's one that's Last Blood or something like that. But I was thinking about this with for you, Reese. When I saw Angela Pace last week in the halls, gave her a big hug, and I'm thinking she's a great example of the peak. She was
legend,
queen of the town,
absolute legend,
still is. But that's
Yeah, it's crazy. Growing up, and obviously Dom and Angela and Yolanda have been Columbus institutions for my life.
Oh yeah,
and so that was when you wanted to be a broadcaster. It was like them. That would be a goal, and that would be the goal.
Yeah,
and for me, it was always hosting SportsCenter. I was always I wanted to do that because every morning and every afternoon. It was what happened last night, what's going to happen tonight, all you would want to consume. Real quick to your point of we're not going to solve the argument with Google. We're just going to figure it out. My friend calls that a pub debate. And when we're having those conversations, I pull out my phone to Google it. And he's like, no, this is a pub debate. And I go, sir, we have the technology. Let's solve this now.
I'm with your buddy.
It's not always about being right. It's about having a fun conversation.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's not fun for anybody ever.
I like it.
I like that pub debate. That's good. Yeah, I've outlawed it. No, we'll get it on our own. We'll get there. But I really enjoyed AR putting that up, and it was a walk down memory lane, I think, certainly for me. And it's amazing how different it's all changed through the years. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas. We'll get to those coming up at 11 o'clock. Interesting night on both the hardwood and the diamond in between. An incredible reveal last night while watching Rambo, which I had never noticed before. So I'll share that with you. And in between that, we also had some pretty good stuff on both the hardwood and the ice. We'll get to that coming up next, and the opportunity for hockey. We're off and running on a First Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
It's the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. So give your friends something to look at and make this a summer to share and save. With a capable Kia SUV like the Sorento, Sportage, Seltos, or Telluride, or a powerful sedan like the fun-to-drive Forte, each backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. And for a limited time, get 1.9% APR for 48 months for well-qualified buyers and $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged 2024 Sportage and Sorento models. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Financing for 24 to 48 months from Kia Finance, subject to credit approval for purchase of a new 2024 Sportage or Sorento. Excludes hybrids and PHEVs. $21.65 per month per $1,000 financed at 48 months. $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged models must be applied as down payment. Must take delivery by 7/8/24. Limited inventory. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See retailer for details.
How can you reach your weight loss goals by the 4th? Simple. Make a Bacon 180 with Awaken 180. Bacon's on the table, burgers, lobsters, you name it. Don't sacrifice the summer avoiding what you love. Make a Bacon 180 at awaken180weightloss.com.
Save up to $150 on select sets of 4 Vredestein tires at AAA Car Care Plus. Not a member? Not a problem. Everyone can save up to $150 on Vredestein tires through May 31st at AAA Car Care Plus locations. See store for details.
Here's a quick listening guide. When something's on the fan, it's on the station you're listening to right now. If I say something's on ESPN Columbus, it's on 1460 AM and the Fan's HD2. When in doubt, stream it on the Fan app. Thank you and good night.
Have you heard? There's always more at Speedway. Like a Big Bite hot dog and Big Gulp drink for only $2.50. Are you dreaming of that fizzy Big Gulp or a dressed up hot dog with zesty relish or spicy jalapenos or tangy mustard or, okay, wipe the drool off your face. Well, whatever you're in the mood for, we have it. And we mean all of it. Now, you can get more with less, like your go-to combo. Get your big meal deal for only $2.50 with Speedy Rewards. There's always more at Speedway. Valid through 1/7/25. Speedway has the right to end this promotion early. Plus tax. Participating U.S. stores only. See app for full terms. All rights reserved.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple of weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
The outdoor drama Tecumseh is back this summer. The drama, the history, and the spectacle make Tecumseh one of Ohio's most beloved traditions. Tecumseh has provided thrilling live entertainment for 50 years, and the outdoor theater at Sugarloaf Mountain will provide a safe and memorable experience for your entire family. Get tickets now at tecumsehdrama.com. This message is made possible in part by the Ohio Arts Council. Tecumseh, experience the drama.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore a seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
I'm Doppler 10 meteorologist Dylan Robichaud. Today we're going to be looking at a mix of clouds and sun along with a few pop-up showers and storms heading into the afternoon. The best chance of rain will be early this afternoon. High temperatures will be only in the upper end of the 60s. Tonight, get ready for some cold air. We drop down to the upper 40s. That's a look at your latest weather report on 97.1 The Fan.
Tipico Sportsbook is the exclusive online sportsbook partner of Bishop & Friends. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
If you You say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Fellas, erectile dysfunction can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when erectile dysfunction becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, even contribute to divorce. It's a relationship destroyer. Depression, distancing, conflicts, all of it. Guess what? There is help on the way. It's time for you to give my friends at Tri-State Men's Health a call today. Tri-State Men's Health treatments work where the pills and herbals fail. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. Do yourself a favor. Schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town today. Initial visit, just $99. Includes medical consult, licensed medical provider, a TNPSA test, and if you're medically advised, a test dose. Now, if that test dose doesn't work, the office visit is free. So it's a no-lose win-win for you. Give them a call today. Get your sex life back on track. 800-900-9654. Visit TriStateMen'sHealth.com today for more. I made the comment about what was the bigger box office. So the biggest Stallone box office movie was Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I didn't even realize it. It must have been a cameo.
Yeah, it's not a very large role, so that doesn't really count as a Sylvester Stallone movie at all.
So the biggest is Expendables 2. 315 million worldwide gross. I never would have had that. So that's number one then in terms of him being the lead. Rocky 4 and Rambo First Blood Part 2, dead heat, 300 million apiece.
Which means they blow past the Expendables in like inflation.
Yeah. Because it's 1985 for Rambo. Boy, he did them in the same year. Holy smokes. He dropped Rocky 4 and Rambo First Blood Part 2 in the same year, 1985.
Him and Arnold were so famous that they were making jokes and jabs at each other in their movies at that point in time.
That's true. Yeah, he would do like Stallone did I'll Be Back in one of them. He had and then
in
Arnold
The Last Action Hero, there's a Stallone Terminator poster, and he's like, huh, yeah.
Right. Expendables, Cliffhanger, Expendables 3. 3 Expendables movies are of his top 10. Creed 2, Spy Kids, Rambo 3, Ants, The Specialist. I've seen that. That was Sharon Stone. Suicides.
He was himself, but an ant in the movie Ants.
And so that's how it's on there.
Yeah.
First Blood 19, then Rocky 3. Rocky 1 and 2 are not on the...
How'd Cobra do? Is that...
Cobra's unbelievable, Marion Caprati.
I have that on DVD.
Of course you do. You're damn right you do. The best part of that is when he parks that car in the beginning, it just moves him out of the way. And he's always sucking on a match for some reason. I don't know why. Like not a toothpick, but a match.
Just looks cool.
He's a fire starter. Great. What can you say?
What do you want? By the way, yesterday while watching Rambo, Mr. Takahashi from Curb was the crooked riverboat captain.
Really?
Yeah. And the only reason, that's 1985. That's almost 40 years ago. But the voice was instantly recognizable.
The affectation was right there.
As soon as I heard the voice, I'm like, that's Mr. Takahashi. I knew it. And then I had to IMDb it to make sure. And then indeed, that is the way that it worked.
Does it appear that there's a chance maybe Larry David said when he hired him, was like, I actually just want you to do the character from Rambo, but at a country club?
It's very similar. It's a lot of yelling is the way that it worked. A lot of yelling. Also in it, the head sensei from Cobra Kai is the guy that picks him up in the
guy that
chopper
that Mr. Miyagi honks his nose, right?
Yeah, the big bad.
Oh, what's his name?
Guy.
I know it because I've been watching the Cobra Kai show.
He's in that?
He shows up in the second season and he gets all involved. Then the guy from The Karate Kid Part 3 shows up because he's the money behind all of Cobra Kai. They go back into everything that they can get from any of those 3 movies. John Kreese, that's his name in it.
He's great. I did watch I had Rambo on, and then we also had paying attention to the basketball and the ice hockey last night. The pretty gutty last couple of minutes from the Timberwolves, down 3-0 to play the way that they played and get that win. Luka gets a lot of nonsense. The foul out call on Karl Anthony Towns was absurd. Like the NBA ruled to take that out of the sport. So he gets Towns in the air, and then as Towns is dropping straight down, he leans into him, and they gave him 3 foul shots. So it appeared closer than it was at the end, but they put rulings in to eliminate that play.
It's like the James Harden thing.
Right.
Yeah, they rewarded it for him twice. He got it. So he got 3 foul shots on one. Then they were down, I think they were down 7 at the time, and he got an attempt at a 4-point play. He hit the 3, and he got like Anthony Edwards kind of near him, and he leaned into him, and they gave him the and one on that too. So it was just that was kind of Bush. So I was happy to see Minnesota, get that win and at least get it to a game 5. And if they win that, then potentially it could be a little bit interesting.
Did you hear the story about the Ant-Man leaving? So he's walking through like the bowels of the stadium. And he runs into Micah Parsons, obviously a Cowboys player there in Dallas. And he saw that Parsons was wearing his shoe, the Anthony Edwards shoe, whatever it is.
Okay.
And he told him, "Hey, I'll get you a free pair of those when we come back here for game 6.
He's full of confidence.
He really is.
Who makes the Anthony Edwards sneaker?
It's got to be Nike, right?
I don't. It's a pub debate.
Oh, is it?
No, it's Adidas.
It's Adidas? That would have been my second guess.
Adidas scooped him up. Boy, think about Nike with their signature shoe lines. Like they did Kyrie Irving, which was an incredibly popular shoe, but obviously Kyrie's been kind of all over the map the last decade or so. They did Paul George, had a signature shoe, and then Ja Morant. Like they launched the Ja Morant, and Ja hasn't really played. Meantime, they lost Anthony Edwards to Adidas. They do have Wembanyama, but usually 7'4" guys aren't shoes that kids want to wear.
Yeah, and I
just hasn't translated.
Remember Zion Williamson just blew out a Nike shoe while at Duke, just went right through it.
And he's Jordan.
Now, okay, so
he's Jordan. So's Luka. So I guess that's
kind of in the family, but yeah, a little bit separate there.
Brutal penalty in overtime cost the Rangers the game last night. The Panthers were on the power play for about 15 seconds and scored to even that series. Like it was the easiest power play goal. It was bing 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 goal.
When you're down a man in 3-on-3 hockey, you're blanked.
It's done. And no chance. I mean, just no chance. It was a brutal penalty. It was Blake Wheeler who ended up taking it, but it was the turnover that led to it. He basically stopped a breakaway. It really could have been a penalty shot, honestly. But it was 3's old buddy Blake Wheeler who was in the box.
I think that's what he was hoping for.
It could have been. That might have even been easier.
It's very much a desperation play by Wheeler
Yeah, it's a terrible turnover that leads to it.
A one-on-one with against Shesterkin, which is a fun name to say.
It is, yeah.
But just when he goes to the box, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
See you on Thursday.
Yeah. And Shesterkin was unbelievable in the game. It should have been a lot. They should have been buried. But it didn't necessarily happen. So that series is tied 2-2 in the West. The Timberwolves and the NBA down 3-1. You have a game 4 in the Western Conference tonight. Stars and the Oilers 2-1 on that side of things. Hockey's got a chance here if they can get to a couple of game 7s. They do. You got a chance to steal a little bit of attention. Although this Wolves-Mavericks series if that thing can go 6, then would be quite interesting as well. So we'll see how this all shakes out. It'd be hard to imagine Minnesota losing at home after winning there, right?
Yeah, but they already lost 2 at home to start the series.
Feels like that.
I don't buy into game 4 stuff. I don't think it always pans out. Now it could. Obviously, I could see that happening, but it also just feels like Dallas is just destined to win this. And
yes.
At what point does it have to get all the way to game 7 before you start to trick yourself into being like, hey, maybe they will be the first team to come back from down 3-0?
You got to get to a game 7, I think.
Yeah, it's the only way that you can.
That's the only way that you even entertain that type of conversation. Well, it's going to be official today. There's going to be a new boss in CBJ land. The job is a very, very big one. Press conference today. We will get into the what, the how, and the why coming up next. Bishop and Friends are here on The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Now at UDF, buy 3 everyday favorites with UDrive Plus to quickly stack an extra 20 cents in gas savings. That includes drinks like Coke and Sprite, Pepsi, and Mountain Dew. And that adds up. UDF, made for you. Specially marked products with an opted-in UDrive account.
Here's your cool tip from Custom Air. Keep your home cool by using your blinds. Closing your blinds during the hottest part of the day blocks out intense sunlight, preventing unwanted heat. Get your home summer ready with Custom Air. Go to customairco.com. Custom solutions, custom comfort, Custom Air.
Oh no, this storm really did a number on my roof.
You need to get that fixed before it gets worse.
I know, but finding a good roofing company is like finding a needle in a haystack.
Actually, there's only one good roofing company you need to know. Nitro Roofing. Family owned, specializing in residential roofing, and they finish the job quickly without cutting corners.
Wow, sounds like they're the real deal.
Absolutely. Call Nitro Roofing today. Use code TheFan10 for 10% off. Call 614-714-5693 or visit nitroroofing.com.
My guys at Germain Lexus are getting ready for the Memorial. What they do every single year is let the golfers drive around in beautiful Lexuses for the week. Then they take those cars and sell them to you. You could be driving Rory's car. The Germain all-month-long celebration's going on right now. You can get great deals like this one. 2024 RX 350, 36-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, $49.99 down, $519 a month. I just picked up my brand new RX 350 a few weeks ago. It is plush. Germain Lexus of Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Great coaching can make all the difference, especially when it comes to your money. At Right Pac Credit Union, our financial coaches are on your team. We'll help you create a winning game plan that's customized for your unique needs, so you can make the most of your hard-earned money and live the life you want to live. Best of all, Right Pac Credit Union serves all of Central Ohio, so getting in the game is easy. Let's win together. Stop by one of our Central Ohio member centers to get started today. Equal housing opportunity, insured by NCUA.
Tee to Green with Skip Mosick.
Saturday, we're at the Virtues Golf Club in Nashport with PGA professional Hung Chow plus Ron Syrak from the U.S. Women's Open.
Tee to Green with Skip Mosick, presented by X Golf. Saturday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
We see it every day. A guy comes into the men's clinic and guess what? The pills quit working, or they're sick of the side effects. And you know what else we see? Guys not confident in their relationship. At Columbus Men's Clinic, we're the leaders in bedroom confidence. Understanding if you even need ED or low T treatment should be the first step. And the next should be choosing the treatment or treatment combination to build your confidence. Our urologist and physician group is offering professional, modern treatments with success rates as high as 92% and decades of experience. Our doctors are not going to send you an email with what might work for most people. We are results-driven. Concierge. You don't pay for medication, it's included, but you invest in the time it takes to get you where you want to be. We've built an experience with discretion that takes the worry out of going to the doctor. In fact, we've normalized it for guys all over Columbus. Come see our friendly team in Columbus and find out why we've been #1 in men's health for years. Get a consultation and low T blood work with results on your first visit for $99. Get your confidence back in the bedroom and beyond. Go to columbusmensclinic.com and book your appointment today. columbusmensclinic.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you? All right, here's what's up on a First Friday edition of the program. Today, 1 o'clock, and Rothman and Ice will have it for you. They're going to have all the live coverage for you. The Jackets going to announce longtime NHL executive Don Waddell has agreed to a multi-year contract to serve as the club's president of hockey ops, general manager, and alternate governor. I love, by the way, parenthetically, I love the all of the names they have for titles here, and then trying to decide which one is most important. Like if I were to rank them, I would assume president of hockey operations is most important, but then general manager is a really big job, and then alternate governor feels significant. But I don't know.
In an episode in the third season of The Office, when they merged the two branches, Andy and Dwight are fighting over who's higher, and one is director of sales, and the other is assistant to the regional manager, but he's still trying to say assistant manager. And he's like, and I think one of them says, "Well, director is the highest rank on a movie set," and so like I guess that's what governor is the highest rank in a state, so it's actually above president.
It's got to be. Yeah, I don't know. This was something you were curious about yesterday, Reese, and no retirement for John Davidson. And Porty told us that yesterday, that he had no interest in that. But he is going to serve as a senior advisor and alternate governor. So he's going to be an alternate governor. Waddell's going to be an alternate governor. Waddell's going to be introduced today at 1 o'clock. A majority owner and governor, John McConnell. Just owner. Like, why do we have to have the governor line? I don't understand it. Anyway.
Yeah, is owner not high enough that you needed another title?
So I was listening. They had Mark Scheiger, the hockey writers, on with the Juicy Boys, and he said that the governor title, an alternate governor title, is just so they can represent the Blue Jackets for meetings. So if league has a meeting, say, I don't know, in a brand new city like Salt Lake, and John McConnell can't go, and JD can't go, well, Don Waddell can go. Or if Don Waddell can't go, and John McConnell can't go, and Mike Priest can't go, well, now JD can go.
They can't just send any executive.
You're watching on YouTube. I have a question.
Yes.
For those who listen.
In the front.
I have a question. Why can't you just send him? Why do you need the governor?
That's
why
a
don't you
good
say
one.
he represents us? Why do we need the governor? Whatever. It's cool. I'm fine with it.
You know how people are with titles.
Yeah. Just send. Yeah. Come on. Anyway. So, quote, to our fans, we remain committed to providing all necessary resources to build a team and organization that competes for the Stanley Cup. After spending time getting to know Don, I believe his experienced leadership will take us down the path to success. This is, this is one of the great jobs in sports, because the amount of patience that comes with this job from ownership is really unquestioned. You're going to have patience. You're going to be able to build it your way. You're going to be able to succeed and fail and start and stop, and ownership's going to have a lot of patience for it. For an organization that's been around 23 seasons, man, you're talking about, this is the fourth general manager, the fourth boss of this thing.
Usually
because you got McLean, you got Housen, then you got JD and Yarmo, and now Waddell. It's four bosses over hockey. I mean, that's an incredible amount of stability for an organization that has failed far more than it has succeeded. So
usually when you have that kind of consistency, or as you said, stability, it's a pretty good franchise. At least it has like a very high floor. I'm thinking like the Pittsburgh Steelers have had essentially three coaches in all of our lifetimes, basically. And they have that level. The Blue Jackets aren't going to be confused with the accomplishments of the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, anytime soon.
No. I was listening to Mike and Bone yesterday off the top of their show, talking a little bit about this and the job ahead and how you go about it. I think that this has become a very smart hockey fan base. It's a very loyal fan base. It's a very diehard fan base. I believe that this fan base would have patience for it being built once right. I said this when we thought that's what they were going to do, when all of a sudden Johnny Gaudreau became in play and they went ahead and you signed him. You can look back now and say, geez, has that worked? But in the moment, you can't. I mean, it was such a stunning opportunity to be able to get somebody with that talent to come here at that time. You had to do it. It's a no-brainer to make that decision at that time. But where we are now is a spot where there is good young talent in the system. I asked Porty about that yesterday. He knows I don't. I'm not going to pretend that I do know who's coming or who's going or how these guys are going to develop. But I do think that Don Waddell can build this through their own guys, through youth. Jody has always lamented that they need some more veterans on the roster. Fine. Get some guys that show them how to win. Great. But don't overspend. Don't chase the eight. What he did in Carolina, a team that over the last 4 years has been over 100 points every year, a team that and a franchise that has been past the first round in 3 straight seasons,
6 straight, I think, actually.
6 straight. That's incredible. And then conference finals a year ago before being swept by Florida. That's what you want. You want that. I have no delusions of grandeur saying, hey, let's go win the cup within 5 years. That ain't happening based on where we're at. But be a contender. Take this youth that's been accumulated, continue to add to it. Be savvy in trades. He's got monster decisions. I mean, you think about the goalie decision that he's got to make. You think about this decision behind on the bench that he has to make. If that's something that he wants to play out with a lame duck, how that goes, because only one more year left on that contract. What do you do with Gaudreau? The Liney thing he has no control over. Liney's still in that system. So we don't know. We've had no updates on Patrick Laine. None.
Yeah, really,
we don't
you're right.
have any idea what's going on there at all. So the job is Zach Werenski. It is Adam Fantilli. It is Cole Sillinger. It is building this team around them going forward. It is making sure Kent Johnson is who he was drafted to be. That's critical. Those type of things. That's the job for Don Waddell. And then adding to that, giving some veterans to teach him how to win, but understanding, and I think the fan base will have the patience for it, that this is not something that is, I don't care. I have no interest in them being a playoff team next year. If it happened, then great, because then that means it's done with youth, but don't chase that.
There are two things I want to know from Don Waddell or about Don Waddell today in the press conference. One, I think you could get an answer from today. The other one, I'm not sure how straightforward that answer could be, even if you did ask the question in the presser. So the first one, for him, what do you think of this team right now? Where do you think this team is at? And because he's coming in and he's not really answering for the decisions of the past regime, he can be a little bit more honest, and I think we might get an answer and hopefully set a benchmark for where they're at, and then we can go, okay, at the end of next season, are they better than that? And so on and so forth as you go on, because I think we've just been pulled in different directions the last few years of thinking where the team is at. You've one year where they're a lot better than they should have been, then they signed Gaudreau, and then all the injuries, and so, maybe that was it. And then this year they had injuries, but it wasn't quite the same amount, and they were still bad, and you really don't know where the team is. And the second one, and I don't think this is the one you could get the answer for, because one, they still have a coach under contract, but can we just get out of the torts mold, hard-nosed type coach? Isn't there somebody else who can run a hockey team? Because I think that type of coach has just become stale here in Columbus.
You talk about the old regime and asking Waddell questions about it. The old regime's going to be sitting to his, stage left?
Probably.
John Davidson's going to make remarks today. At least I would fully expect him to. When I saw the press release yesterday, I'm like, not a Barry Alvarez thing. At least I hope that's not going to be the case, where if every game John Davidson's there, and I hope it's just, like it says, an advisory role and, if needed, for a meeting at Denver.
It's time to turn the keys over.
Because if you want to...
I think this is that. I think this is that. I think it is that. I think Waddell answers to ownership is probably my guess, and Mike Priest. To answer your question, Chops, this is an exact answer of that, but this is how I feel about it. One thing I don't want Don Waddell, and I don't think he'll do this. I don't want that customary new guy, new boss in a place. Let me get a year to get a look at things. No. You're in the same conference as this team. You know this roster. He knows it. I don't need that. I want action now.
Yeah. What do you see this team as, and what is the plan to make it better?
Right. And be frank with that and start now on that. Let's see it play out. I don't know exactly what Adam Fantilli is. Yes, you do. We know what Adam Fantilli is. Let's go. I don't need wading into this job. We've waded into it for 23 years. It's enough. It's time to go and build once right, and hopefully Don Waddell's a guy who can do that. The NFLPA put out a proposal yesterday that was quite interesting, and one that ownership is not going to have much time for at all. What was the motivation behind this? We'll get to it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Okay, I'm ready to record my jewelry store's new radio spot. I got a great script that really goes after Diamonds Direct and how they're nothing special and how we can match their price. Great stuff.
Oh, great. We have this new technology that bleeps out any false claims, so it saves us time with editing. So you can start anytime.
Okay, here goes. When you visit our jewelry store, we'll guarantee direct. Our diamonds come straight. We have cutters. And, hey, what the?
The hard truth is that other jewelry stores simply can't do what Diamonds Direct can. Diamonds Direct has special relationship with De Beers, international connections, and virtually unlimited buying power. The result is true direct importer pricing, exceptional quality, and up to 30 times the diamond selection you find at other stores.
I can't believe this thing won't let me say.
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get more truth at diamondsdirect.com.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and I work for Meijer. People always ask, why do I shop there? It's because I can get great quality and value in one stop. Like this week's hottest deals on locally grown asparagus and select cuts of pork. Plus, I can earn 50 points per gallon of gas pumped at any Meijer Express through June 1st with M-Perks. Meijer has all I need in just one stop, and the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Every shot, every goal, ESPN Bet has fans covered for the biggest moments on the road to the championship. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find special offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities throughout the playoffs. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
With spring ball behind us, we're officially gearing up for the most anticipated football season ever. Excited, nervous, terrified to your very core? Think of us as your emotional safe space. Always your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to protect against wear and deposits. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $33.99 in-store only. Limit supply. Learn more at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. When it comes to getting a new roof, are you confident letting just anyone on the roof of your home? I'm Craig Schottenstein, owner of Schottenstein Roofing. Our team is dedicated to delivering outstanding value on every roof we repair or replace. Whether residential or commercial, Schottenstein Roofing meets the needs of every customer. From roof installation and repair to siding and gutters, you name it, we do it. Call Schottenstein Roofing, 614-321-8888 to schedule your free inspection today. Go to schottensteinroofing.com.
Something amazing is happening here. AI is increasing workloads on CPUs and GPUs. But this company's laptops are more than keeping pace. That's because CDW worked with them to future-proof their laptop fleet by configuring them with devices enabled with AMD Ryzen AI. Improve performance and free up resources with AMD Ryzen and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/AMD client.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Airflow Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
We have we got a new Scheffler video, Reese.
Yeah,
put it up on the social.
Up right now at 971 BFS, and what it's reporting to show, and you can't really see much just because it's dark and rainy, but you can hear what is reported to be an interaction between Scheffler and another officer, as Scheffler is reported to be sitting in a squad car. So the officer's admonishing him for
this would be after.
This would have been when he was put in handcuffs and taken away, which you have seen that video of. What we can't seem to find is the video of the actual incident in question here. But this video, again, up on our Twitter feed at 971BFS, or I guess the artist formerly known as Twitter. But in the interaction, the audio exchange is the officer admonishing Scheffler. Scheffler saying he didn't know that the officer in question was a police officer. And that he, again, Scheffler very polite, very understanding of the situation, I think. The officer talking in the video says that the officer that made the arrest had a scrape on his knee. And so I guess that would be what happened to the pants and why was that damaged beyond repair. So it's up if you want to watch it. I would encourage you all to.
I don't understand the upside for Louisville PD on this. I mean, based on what we've seen, what we know, to continue to pursue this, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand their win.
Well,
where's their win?
One of the big parts of the video is like, well, when a traffic cop tells you to do something, you should follow that. And like, yeah, that is correct. But Scheffler was told different things from different people.
And so were they.
So nobody was on the same page. So it doesn't work that way when other officials are saying to do one thing and somebody else comes up and says, what, I'm just supposed to listen to the most recent one? Is that the way it's supposed to go every single time? Why can't it just be seen as what it was? People just got confused and it was a hectic moment.
Yeah. And there was no way for him to discern between a Louisville PD and a guy working security at Valhalla.
Right.
They're both in yellow jackets. Like, how would he? You're not going to know. Like, you're told to go around. He went around. Like, come on, it's ridiculous that this has continued to this point, and they're still going to do it. I mean, I don't even understand the grandstand of it. I don't understand the win for them. So I don't know. We'll see. NFLPA reportedly working on a proposal that would eliminate OTAs in lieu of a longer training camp that would start as early as mid-June. The report states that a majority of players support the proposal. So before I get into some of the comments on this, including Browns player Shelby Harris, who went to social to discuss this, I did not understand, nor do I still understand the NFLPA, what the win for them is here. I guess what the win for them would be, I can punch out when we lose out, and I don't have to come back until June. But the reality is they don't have to come back save for 3 days of mandatory minicamp anyway. That's it. That's really all they have to do. They don't have to be there at OTAs. There's nothing that makes them do that. Actually, it's kind of a media problem when we report who's at OTAs.
And is that what the
really shouldn't matter?
PA is mad about? They just want to get rid of those reports?
I guess, because it sheds bad light on a player if he's not there for an OTA. But I never think of it that way. Like, Myles Garrett isn't in Cleveland. I don't think he needs to be. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins aren't in Cincinnati. I don't think they need to be. There's plenty of time to get ramped up. So in exchange for not having OTAs and minicamp, mandatory minicamp, which is next week, you would have a mid-June start to camp. So my God, you want to talk about mid-June. So all the OTA stuff would happen mid-June through July, and then you would do training camp in August. It'd just be never ending. And
you'd be 2 months away from your preseason games in mid-June.
I mean, training camp's too long as it is.
Yeah.
It's way too long as it is. Albert Breer with this yesterday. Let's just say this new proposal to scrap the offseason program, start training camp with the ramp-up period in June, and eliminate the annual summer break in the NFL calendar is going over like the Hindenburg with coaches and front office people. Yeah. You know why? Because front office people and coaches, when they are done with minicamp on... It's like a Thursday or Friday. I want to say it's not next week, but it's the week after. When they do that 3-day minicamp, when that's done, then they're off for 6 weeks. Truly off, like unplugged. Like, front office goes away, coaches go away. They'll paratroop in from time to time, but by and large, they are gone once that happens. Totally gone. And they don't want to lose that. They want to be able to recharge because it is an up at dawn siege once you get to camp. The days are never ending, and the season is very long as it is. I think players would like to do the same. So Shelby Harris went to social. This is Browns defensive lineman. I'm so confused how they're trying to twist this into saying players want to start camp the end of June. Nobody wants anything to do with this change. Players don't want this either. This is what I think. I think the players want to get rid of OTAs and mandatory minicamp and just start training camp in the same time. That I could see them wanting.
Yeah, and the give back is we'll have a longer training camp, but nobody wants a longer training camp.
Nobody does. And even if you added a week to it, so instead of reporting it the last week of July, do the July 20th or something like that, I could see players being for that. But no player wants end of June or middle of June. Nobody does.
Yeah, even if, maybe the schedule right now doesn't work for everybody and they don't like it, but this mid-June solution isn't there. Because it reminded me of something, Bo, you've talked a lot about your kids. Nonsense right now in school. And it made me think about how, wow, that's a real waste of, you only get 180 days. At least that's what it was in high school. I'm sure it's still somewhere in that realm. And I was like, okay, that's only half the days of the year. What if they just had the kids go to school for 6 months and then you got 6 months off? But nobody wants to work or go to school for 180 days in a row. Now, this wouldn't be that extreme, but this is just manufacturing burnout in your players before the season might even start. which is already something that the NFL season goes so long that it's not necessary. And as we all know, most players, and if they aren't this guy, they probably will get cut or, their role will be diminished, do a good job of staying in shape on their own and actually doing drills and doing whatever they can to make sure that they're still football ready. And they're professionals, and you just have to trust them this way. Nobody wants to be handheld, coaches, players, anybody. Nobody wants to be locked in for 2 months before the season starts.
No.
I wonder what would be the give, or I guess the give back from players. So if this is a proposal that would have to be approved by league owners, then what's the PA giving up if, in fact, the Players Association votes, I don't know if unanimously, but if they vote to have this be the new format, then what are the owners getting out of this? Because
I don't have a concrete answer, Reese. My guess would be what the players are going to give back is they're going to say, we will have more mandatory time in exchange for less of the OTA stuff. That would be my guess. That we'll give you a week instead of 3 days. We'll give you a week of mandatory at the end of July, like an extra week, in exchange for not having to be here from the end of April until the second week of June in the off-season program. That's my guess. But last thing on this real quick, you said it, and it's 100% accurate. In the old days, you had to go to training camp to get in shape. Like, guys would, in the offseason, were playing. They didn't have the money these guys made.
They had other jobs, too.
They had jobs. I mean, like, they would play, a lot of them, like, there's all these stories up in the Cleveland area about how, like, the Cleveland Browns would go play, like, celebrity basketball games for money. Like, they'd play, like, the Canton Police Department in a basketball game, or they'd go play a softball game, against the Toledo Police Department or something like that to try to make money. And they'd sign autographs, and that's how they do it. So they drank beer, played other sports, then showed up at training camp to get into shape. They're already in shape. They're already there. So that isn't necessary. None of these guys fall out of shape anymore. It's just not the way it works. A little bit of momentum. Never say never. I'll just say that in college sports. We'll get to it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Are men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Spring is a season full of new life and new opportunities to celebrate. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. Anniversaries, new babies, graduations, plus everything in between, discover the perfect gift for every occasion. Visit us at the Diamond Cellar on Sawmill Road or Easton Town Center.
Billiards Plus has everything for the master griller in your house. Come to their showroom, open the lid, and feel the difference in their grills. Professional top quality equipment at great prices with a huge selection ready to go home with you. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey, are you having a hard time dealing with high-interest credit card debt? It's normal, and a SoFi personal loan could help you save thousands by consolidating your DEBT to one low fixed monthly payment. You could get $5,000 to $100,000 as soon as the same day you sign, with no fees required. It only takes 60 seconds to view your rate, and it won't affect your credit score. View your rate at SoFi.com/paid-off. Loans originated by SoFi Bank N.A. Member FDIC. Terms and conditions at SoFi.com/paid-off. NMLS 696891.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Because comfort keeps us going. So grab your family, your friends, and your Wrangler layers for some fresh air adventures together. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. A new era in Blue Jackets hockey begins today. The team will introduce Don Waddell as their new president of hockey operations and general manager. It'll be this afternoon at 1 o'clock in a press conference at Nationwide. We'll carry that presser live on The Fan. Waddell comes over from Carolina, where he served as Hurricanes general manager for the last 10 seasons. On the ice tonight, the Oilers host the Stars in Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. Dallas leads 2-1. They'll also host Game 5 on Friday. In the East, the Panthers beat the Rangers 3-2 in overtime last night to tie that series at 2. New York will host Florida in Game 5 on Thursday. And in baseball, the Reds and Cardinals go in their rubber match of a 3-game series today at 1:10. And tonight in Colorado, the Guardians take on the Rockies. That's in their rubber match at 8:40. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Second hour here on a First Friday edition of the program. Still time to get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas at 971-BFS. We'll get to those coming up at 11 o'clock. So I started to see some of this last night, and then I started to look into it a little bit. And Brett McMurphy was on with Paul Feinbaum, who'll be with us tomorrow. And one of the things that Paul asked, they were talking about this, there's some momentum for this Florida State Clemson stuff, right? That potentially there's a way out for them. Maybe it's private equity. I don't know. You're going to have to write a check. That's what we know. There's going to be a check that's written, and then in exchange for that check or those finances, what would the private equity get back? What we learned last week from that, was it Redbird Capital? Mm-hmm. The thing that they're playing for is not... they're not wanting a part, and this is the part I don't understand, because again, state school was they want a part of the revenue, but not revenue that's current. They want new revenue. They want a piece of the new revenue streams that are coming. They would get ownership of that, not ownership of the revenue that's currently there. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, somebody said, think of it not as, even though it would be like a private equity firm, but don't think of it as private equity. Think of it as private capital, that it's all like a money exchange thing, that they give you money and then in the future they have rights to future earnings from it, but not actually a percentage of the company, and wouldn't have, I don't know, the stocks to trade around and all that stuff. But yeah, then it's like, okay, fine. Sounds very similar, but I guess you just can't sell percentages of your football program.
No. And so you can sell percentages of future revenue, and that's where you would get the payback, is eventually that would work itself out. So Florida State and Clemson are walking hand in hand in this with their fight against the ACC in an effort to get out. They want to get out because, quite frankly, the money doesn't work. And neither one of those two institutions are like SMU, where they can just write checks to make it be okay for a while, the way SMU did in the ACC. I mean, SMU is not going to take a dollar from the ACC because they can make up for it with their own money. Florida State and Clemson do not have war chests like that, not by a damn stretch. So how are they going to remain quality football programs when the discrepancy in funds between their chief rivals, Florida and South Carolina, and really the whole South, continue to go up, up, and up, and theirs is at a very hard cap. So that's how all of this has happened. That's why there's a sense of urgency for them. That's why they're looking into the private equity, because they don't have a bunch of billionaire boosters who can write a check to get them out of it the way Maryland did with Kevin Plank with Under Armour. So they don't have those options. So this is how they got here. So McMurphy's on with Paul, and Paul says who's going to want him, and McMurphy, without skipping a beat, says the Big Ten, that the Big Ten would want Florida State and Clemson. Now, I've always consistently been told that if the Big Ten would take anyone from the ACC, their number one choice by a decent margin is North Carolina. We had Paul on last week. I asked him about this, and he felt the same about the SEC, that the one school that the SEC would want is North Carolina, that they could do it, that there really is no interest. And I've said this for years, even back when I was down there. The SEC went to Florida State years ago, and Bobby Bowden was the main reason that Florida State said no. He's the main reason that Florida State's in the ACC. He went ACC over SEC at that time. But the SEC courted Florida State for years. Florida State was an independent through the 80s and early 90s. That's why they ended up playing Notre Dame a lot. That's why they played Penn State from time to time. The University of Miami was an independent at that time too, so that's how those teams played. They were Metro Conference in basketball. And eventually,
Conference.
Yeah, it was
never
like
even
them
heard
in Louisville.
of that.
Yeah, them in Louisville. Southern Miss, I think, was in there. But they they chose the ACC, and ever since then, the SEC is like, fine, we're good. We're not interested. We're already in the Florida footprint. We don't need you. In fact, in the state of Florida, my hunch is the SEC would rather have Miami than Florida State. They'd rather be in South Florida because if you've been to Florida, and many of you out there have, South Florida honestly feels like another state than the rest of it. It feels like there is a line like Alligator Alley. South of it and east of it is different than the rest. So I think they'd have more interest in Miami. So then you say, okay, if there's something to this, and the Big Ten would want Florida State and Clemson, would that be the jumping off point, or would that be a bridge to North Carolina and Notre Dame? Is that the hope, that you would want to add a couple and go to 4 and get that big? So that's one part of it. And then the other part is, well, who's driving this? And the answer to that is Fox. It's CBS and it's NBC. Why? Because Florida State is a damn good television show in football. And Clemson's a pretty good football show, television show in football. And so that's how this could happen. I'm more open to this now being possible than I have been in the last 3-4 years by a wide margin. And the reason for that is television shows and streamers and opportunity. When you see the Big Ten schedule, think about some of the primetime games that NBC is going to have to deal with. Think about what Fox is going to do on Friday nights, and some of those games are going to trot out there and say, hey, do you care about this? And then just take Purdue out and put Florida State in, and what does it look like? Take Clemson and put them in, and take Indiana out, and what does it look like? Take Rutgers out and put North Carolina, or obviously Notre Dame is a no-brainer. But Florida State and Clemson are two that I'd forever have thought, no chance. I'm not going there now, because when you look at the television windows that Fox, NBC, and CBS have to fill, those are good television shows.
It's an interesting thought, because as soon as they added USC and UCLA, it just really felt like, and maybe even reading between the lines, I'd have to go back and look at some of the specific quotes, but it really felt like they were gunning for 20, that they wanted to get 20. That got them to 16. Eventually they got to 18 with Oregon and Washington. So adding 2 more would get you to 20, but obviously adding another 2 on top of that would get you to 22. And then we're getting to another thought that always pops in my head when we're talking about this realignment and the ACC, what's going to happen to them? Are they going to fall apart? The Pac-12 already did fall apart, so don't say that it can't happen. But are we ever actually going to see a conference say, you know what, we've got these top level teams, Indiana, Purdue, Rutgers, you're not really in the Big Ten anymore. We're going to kind of force you out, but nobody has shown any interest in that.
No one talks about that.
And now it feels like they just want to add enough teams so that you can just put another conference on top of the lower level of the conference and just say, this is actually the Big Ten. Yeah, there's 10 other teams down here that are technically in the Big Ten, and we play them in conference games, but they're not really the competitors of it. And that's what it feels like they're gearing towards, because they don't want to go through the litigation and the fight that it would be to try to kick somebody out and take away the paycheck that the Big Ten offers them. And they said, we'll just make the Big Ten really large and just ignore those teams. Because if you had 22, that's a whole sports league. That's not a conference anymore.
No.
And that's the thing, because you've Illinois, Rutgers, like they're going to fight. You tear this Big Ten money out of my cold dead hands. And so now you can quasi relegate them. I'll become the first national conference. And I think the SEC doesn't necessarily have interest in becoming the national conference, but they would like to still, maintain their spot on top. Big Ten maybe a 1A, 1B in this scenario, but adding, Florida State, adding a Clemson would then make you coast to coast.
SEC seems comfortable with being reactive at this point, and they're waiting for somebody else to do something first.
We'll get to them in a second. They don't have to do anything. They're good. They're fine. They're not going to need to spread it anymore. They don't need to share it anymore. We'll get to some of the things that would perhaps pique their interest. But remember that Washington, Oregon was on the table for a long time, and the Big Ten president said no. And it wasn't until Fox said, actually, yes. Actually, yes. I think we will take them. And did Fox know at that time that they were losing SmackDown on Friday nights? I don't know. I don't know if they did or not.
Yeah.
But they knew that maybe they did. And maybe they said, we have Friday nights open now. We need some more good television shows. And let's look around this inventory. I mean, I just off the top of my head, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong on any of this, and Fish, plug your ears. I know you're a proud Illini. But like Rutgers, Maryland, Illinois, Purdue, Indiana, Northwestern, Minnesota, none of those are good television shows. That's 7 teams. Everybody else in the Big Ten, good television show, at least.
Yeah, and the people around the programs care about it too, so you at least get like a nice fan base that would tune into a television show for them anyways.
I mean, the next group up from that, then you get into like the Michigan States, Michigan States, Iowas, but people Wisconsin's, but 3 million people watch those games. Watch those teams.
Iowa and Nebraska
so they're not
are hard
on that
ones
league
to like quantify in that.
Yeah, but
because
you're going to get 3 million. You're going to get 2.5 million when they play. You are, especially if they're not playing these seven. This is the end of the world, or these 7. You put the rest of them up against anybody, and those are all good television shows.
Those teams have been doing well playing 11 a.m. kickoff times against those teams for decades. Yeah.
So all of a sudden, instead of Iowa playing, Indiana, they're playing Florida State. Now we're in. Now I'm in. Instead of Wisconsin playing Maryland, they're playing Clemson. Now we're in. Now that's a television show. In fact, Wisconsin is playing Alabama in a television show this year. It's a made-for-TV event.
And I think what TV would say, any of those teams in that first 7 of that group that you mentioned, if they're involved, unless it's the real tops, the Ohio States, the Michigans, maybe USC, maybe Oregon gets to there, but they're not. I don't think they're quite there yet that they can just lift up one of those teams. All on BTN. You guys have your own network. Put that on BTN. Put Purdue and Indiana and Rutgers can play around on BTN, and every once in a while, they have to play other teams, so those will be on there. But all these other games, that's what we want for our inventory on these network television channels.
If there is an addition for the Big Ten, would conference schools want to charge them admittance? Or would they just hold off their payments defer the network payments for a couple of years? Or would they say, if you really want in, you got to pay, and if they do pay, how much goes to who? Because it'll forever baffle me. Ohio State and Rutgers are the same from a revenue generating standpoint.
Well, the checks they get,
television revenue generating standpoint.
Yeah.
Will conferences ever trade teams and put like cash compensation in it? Like, hey, you take Rutgers and Indiana and I don't know, $300 million, and we'll take Florida State or something like that. It's nuts what's happening, right? It's not done. There's going to be a lot of moving parts to this. I said when they added USC and UCLA that they had to have more dance partners. Eventually, they got more dance partners. I do think if Florida State and Clemson were in the mix, that you would need 2 more in that region. It's easier to get obviously from the Midwest to Tallahassee. Both those places are hard to get to. Those aren't commercial. Those are, that's private aviation situations, or you're connecting. You're not flying direct from Minneapolis to Tallahassee. That's not happening. Certainly not to Clemson. So they're not ideal in that standpoint. So I do think you'd need some dance partners there. Obviously, Carolina would be the first pick. I could see the Big Ten having an interest in Miami, too, for the same reason that the SEC would have a little bit of interest, just in terms of their location. It's a good academic school. And then Notre Dame sits out there. And, as all this is crumbling, if all of this crumbles, what exactly are they holding on to? What independence are they holding on to? And their football relationship and other sport relationship, too, is with the ACC. And what happens as that becomes weaker? Is that really where they want to play those games?
Paul and I talked about this last week on the show. Carolina's the linchpin still. They're the ones. They're the ones that can make it crumble. If they were to jump in with FSU and Clemson, then it dissolves. It's done at that point. And I do think that the Big Ten, these would be good television shows, and you really can't deny it. Speaking of the ACC, Utah with some rumors about the ACC. We will get to that. And the Southeastern Conference, sitting back and watching as all of these moves are happening. What would pique their interest? And how close are we to a Super League? Could be something that happens within the next 2 years. Some momentum. We'll get to it. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Instant classics are exciting, but true legends have impact over time. Like how Plant Moran has been counted on by companies and clients for the past 100 years. Counted on for advice by the workwear brand you zip up every day. Counted on for guidance by the zoos and aquariums inspiring the next generation. Counted on for a holistic approach by those growing, protecting, and sharing their wealth. From accounting to tax, consulting to wealth management, we are built year after year on the stories and success we help others achieve. Here's to the next 100 years of Plant Moran. Count on us.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry, who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise in the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Grab life by the chicken fingers and savor the day with hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that secret cane sauce that makes everything that much better.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
The Columbus Gun Show at the Ohio Expo Center this weekend. Everything you need for the shooting sports and self-defense. Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 9 to 4. Coupon and more info at cegunshows.com.
Right now during cheap 4x4 season, well-qualified lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2024 Jeep Compass Limited 4x4 for $379 a month for 42 months with $3,837 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra. No security deposit required. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Stellantis Financial Services. Extra charge for miles over 35,000. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 6/3/2024. Jeep is a registered trademark.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Watch us live or on demand by searching 971 The Fan. Which fan host will awkwardly scratch their privates? Let's find out together. Find us on YouTube, The Fan.
We see it every day. A guy comes into the men's clinic and guess what? The pills quit working, or they're sick of the side effects. And you know what else we see? Guys not confident in their relationship. At Columbus Men's Clinic, we're the leaders in bedroom confidence. Understanding if you even need ED or low T treatment should be the first step. And the next should be choosing the treatment or treatment combination to build your confidence. Our urologist and physician group is offering professional, modern treatments with success rates as high as 92% and decades of experience. Our doctors are not going to send you an email with what might work for most people. We are results-driven. Concierge. You don't pay for medication, it's included, but you invest in the time it takes to get you where you want to be. We've built an experience with discretion that takes the worry out of going to the doctor. In fact, we've normalized it for guys all over Columbus. Come see our friendly team in Columbus and find out why we've been #1 in men's health for years. Get a consultation and low T blood work with results on your first visit for $99. Get your confidence back in the bedroom and beyond. Go to columbusmensclinic.com and book your appointment today. columbusmensclinic.com.
Proper tree care is an investment that can lead to substantial returns and increased personal enjoyment. Hiring a certified arborist can help care for your trees and add considerable value to your property. Inspections by Ohio ISA certified arborists can often find and mitigate tree defects before they fail. Only professionals with specialized knowledge and training are properly equipped to provide appropriate care. To find an arborist, visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Low Fiber Business is now in Ohio, and your business is our priority. Low Fiber delivers reliably fast, custom, and prepackaged internet plans to meet the growing needs of your business. And our dependable 24/7 personal support means your business stays connected. Low Fiber is here, and we mean business. Find out more at 833-WANT-GLOW or visit glowfiberbusiness.com today. Glow Fiber Business is not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, summer is our season, and we're kicking it off with a free 12-ounce Island Punch smoothie for National Flip Flop Day. Head to your local cafe on May 29th from 2 to 7 p.m. Terms and conditions apply.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
I am Doppler 10 meteorologist Dylan Robichaud. Here's a look at your weather report heading into Wednesday. Scattered showers and storms will be in the forecast. Highs around 68. Tonight we drop down to the upper end of the 40s. And then as we head into tomorrow, expect sunny skies. It'll be less humid with highs around 70. That's your latest weather report on 97.1 The Fan.
Tipico Sportsbook is the exclusive online sportsbook partner of Bishop and Friends. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Not interested in Iowa football? Too bad. Chops will tell you about it anyway. This is Bishop and Friends.
Chuckle Bo here for my friends at RCD RV, blazing a trail in the RV industry. Folks, 5 stores now in Ohio to serve you the best brands, new and pre-owned RVs for every single budget. Your summer vacation will be the one to remember when you skip the smog, spend your nights under the stars, those beautiful night skies out in the wilderness, making memories a whole family's going to cherish forever. Visit them at any of their 3 locations in Central Ohio and now 5 in the Buckeye State, or online anytime at rcdrv.com. Brett McMurphy with this yesterday as well. So there's been a lot of rumor about Utah wanting to join the ACC. And quite honestly, like if you give Utah a truth serum and say, if you were to know that Cal and Stanford would be in the ACC, would you want to be here? I bet they would say yes. They would prefer that over the Big 12. I think you could probably apply that maybe to Colorado, but probably to the Arizonas as well. That if they knew that the ACC was going to take Stanford and Cal, that they would have been in the business of trying to get into that league as well, that it's more appealing than the Big 12 is, which is odd because the Big 12 feels like they're in the catbird seat because they can go get another bite at the apple sooner than the ACC, but right now they make less. And I don't think their brands are not as strong as the ACC brands either. So
that's why they put so much focus into basketball too. That like hopefully that can be something where they can get a little bit more money next time they go. If we make this very attractive from a basketball sense, and they do have the talent, but it's just never going to sell the way football does.
Never, no. There is the one thing I will, a quick caveat. I will say this about basketball: when you think about the streamers, and we experienced that last year with Peacock.
Yeah,
it's not football numbers, but you Peacock. You do have to have those apps if you want to watch your Kansas basketball, if you want to watch your Baylor basketball. And people who, I mean, just like us, I mean, this isn't a basketball town.
And the value of driving subscribers is something that the streamers want to pay for. No matter what it is. If it can drive subscribers, we'll take it because they are all operating a quarter at a time and they need to show subscriber growth each and every quarter.
Yep, that's it. So then... Well, let me put a ribbon on the Utah thing because this got me thinking a little bit when I saw this Utah stuff. Is it possible, and I think it might be, that Oregon State and Washington State might be okay, and that just maybe the remnants of the Pac-12 could be revisited at a future date? Not Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC, but there is a group of schools, the 2 Arizonas, Utah, BYU, Colorado, Stanford, Cal, that honestly would make a good version of another conference. Could the old Pac-12 merge kind of with the ACC in some way to create kind of your basic, we talk about reverse engineering cable. This is reverse engineering college athletic conferences.
Yeah, which
is kind of what they're doing.
The joke people have made were, what if you can take a few more teams from the Pac-12 and make the Big Ten West and you just like recreate the Pac-12, but that idea going forward. I think also something is happening right now, and it's not fully there, but there is a chance that Oregon State and Washington State, outside of the 4 that got to join the Big Ten from the Pac-12, might actually be in the best position because when this all comes back around, if FSU and Clemson and UNC figure out a way out and the ACC is on bad footing, if Utah truly wants to leave and they want to jump, that's just so much instability for those conferences that they might not actually be in the position of strength that they were this time around with saying, Cal and Stanford, yeah, you can join the ACC, but we're not going to pay you. They might actually be in need of teams, and there's a chance that you're going to get a better deal than what Cal and Stanford got if you're Oregon State and Washington State when those teams come calling, because you can say, well, what's it to you? We own the Pac-12 right now. We're pretty comfortable.
That's true. They do still have.
I wonder if networks in the next decade or so will step in and be like, no, we want this one. We want to organize it like this. We want it to be more regional friendly for us. So like the ACC wouldn't merge with any schools past, the Rocky Mountains because we're just not interested in dealing with that window. We want to have this certain group in a window that's preferable to our advertisers and what we want to do, not so much you schools.
There's got to be 2 separate conversations. You bring up a great point. There's got to be conversations about football and about everything else. The football conversation is a once-a-week game. The rest of it is the problem. I mean, folks, wrap your head around. I mean, we talk about at least there's 4 teams out west for us. Think about the idea of Cal and Stanford playing conference games on Tobacco Road. I mean, you're not flying into major metropolitan places in the ACC. You are sure in Atlanta, Boston, Raleigh. There's a couple. But try getting to Virginia Tech.
Well, and
try getting to Charlottesville. Try getting to Tallahassee.
I think you
Clemson.
forget sometime about the Big 12 and because like their footprint is still kind of there and it kind of makes sense. But then you remember, oh yeah, Central Florida's in there. How does that make sense for them to fly out to Salt Lake City and play BYU? How is that doable every year? At least they're good.
The only thing with the Big 12 is they have so many members that you might not have to do that all the time.
Yeah, they can work around the schedule. And
like Stanford and Cal have to play people in the non-revenue sports. Now Stanford could buy the ACC with their endowment, but Cal doesn't have that. They're broke. So how do they? Now they have a big endowment, but like Stanford could write a check. Cal financially is in trouble. Their athletic department's broke. So how are they going to fund all of this?
Yeah, the $10 million alimony from UCLA is not going to make up the difference that they need. Because they're already in the hole.
They're way in the hole. And UCLA's in the hole too, which is how this, how they got so aggressive with all of this to begin with. The SEC they put out their new logo. They're having those meetings down in Destin. We'll have Paul on tomorrow with the latest on that. They put out their new logo, and it's like kind of an old school logo with all of the like pennants of all of the teams, and they added Texas and Oklahoma to it. They're sitting there at 16. I believe there is no scenario where the SEC would add anybody with really just 2 exceptions, and that would be North Carolina and it would be Notre Dame. I think the Southeastern Conference would love to have Notre Dame, and I think they would really love to have North Carolina. I think that's the only 2, save for like the Big Ten falling apart, which is never going to happen, and then like Ohio State becoming available. There's nobody else that the SEC would add or need to add, or who ESPN, who has their entire media rights package, would have an interest in them adding. There really isn't. Everything else is of no interest to them. They have a national brand. They have rivalries that make sense. They have a regional footprint that makes sense, that over the last 30 years has turned into a national brand. They don't need anything else. Carolina would be an obvious no-brainer for them. They've coveted them for a long time. And then the only other one I could see is Notre Dame. And then if Notre Dame's going to join into a conference, it would make no sense to join the SEC.
And then I guess, it's very far off, but does Indiana touch Kentucky? Because even adding Notre Dame, I'm just thinking like when we're talking about the travel costs and having dance partners, the SEC is definitely the conference that still has every state that operates a team touches another state that has an SEC team in it.
Correct.
And all the other conferences are not in that boat right now. Man, I guess I'd have to look at the map of the Big 12 and Texas touching those, but you would have to include the 4 corner schools to get there, and they'd each just keep branching off each other.
Yeah. But those are that's kind of the map of it all. It's funny. You this is spitballing, but you do wonder if there would be a time when like the SEC and the Big Ten would be like, hey, it would make more sense for us to have, like the SEC to say, hey, it'd make more sense for us to have Nebraska, and we'll give you somebody else as an exchange. I don't know what the exchange rate would be on that, but the bigger picture of like, if they ever do reverse engineer this and get back to some geographical
Missouri would make sense for the Big Ten.
Yeah. Missouri would. They would. Yeah. That would probably be the one that would fill it. Although Missouri's further south and east than Nebraska geographically. So
yes, but they have
the feel is different though.
They have an old school relationship with Illinois that like both fan bases like try to shy away from, but then when like they do play in basketball, everybody gets really excited and it's like, bring that home.
Yeah, bring it home. They don't play Kansas anymore, and that was their biggest rival. So that kind of tells you where that is. We'll get Jake Trotter's thoughts on all of this. Senior college football writer at ESPN. He joins us coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
My guys at Germain Lexus are getting ready for the Memorial. What they do every single year is let the golfers drive around in beautiful Lexuses for the week. Then they take those cars and sell them to you. You could be driving Rory's car. The Germain all-month-long celebration's going on right now. You can get great deals like this one. 2024 RX 350, 36-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, $49.99 down, $519 a month. I just picked up my brand new RX 350 a few weeks ago. It is plush. Germain Lexus of Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
And right now, 80% lean ground beef in 3-pound rolls is on sale for just $3.49 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Anthony here for the Good Feet store. You know, we do a segment on the show every week called Pressure, but that's about sports. What about the pressure your feet endure every day? I know mine did. When I went to the Good Feet store, I learned I was out of line. I joked, I already know that. They said, no, physically, my feet weren't being supported the right way. So when I went to the store on Polaris Parkway, they also have one on Stringtown Road, I took all the time I needed to walk around the store to see what felt and fit the best in my shoes. Once I had them in, my personal arch supports from the Good Feet store, my lower back pain went away. What a feeling. You need to get your free personalized fitting by one of their arch support specialists. For arch supports to be effective, they require a precision fit. That's why Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store. You like them? You can wear them home. You have nothing to lose but the pain. So go to goodfeet.com today or go in and try the Good Feet feeling. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief, all from the Good Feet store.
The Memorial is coming, and we'll be there, and you'll be there, and we'll all be, you get the point. The Fan is broadcasting live from the Memorial.
Sponsored by Ohio for Responsible Gambling and Orthopedic One.
The Fan.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Save big money on your next project. Right now at Menards. Champion Power Equipment is a leader in power generation equipment with durable and dependable generators and inverters. They're ultra quiet and ideal for camping, tailgating, and keeping your family safe during power outages. Save big money on Champion generators and inverters. Visit us in store and Menards.com and see all the great deals going on now in our weekly flyer.
Save big money at Menards.
If you're searching for the best burgers in the game, find them at Twin Peaks all month long. It's National Hamburger Month, and these seasoned, smashed, and seared burgers are waiting to be discovered. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails, top shelf spirits, local craft beers, and handcrafted whiskey cocktails. And don't forget about our 29-degree drafts. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com.
This is Attorney Robert Scherger, and I want you to remember one thing. We're the legal army that goes to war for you. Call us now at 877-WAR-FOR-YOU. It's time to know your rights and get the results you deserve. WarForYou.com.
Hey, Bobby Carpenter here from Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric. We save our customers tons of money and frustration by simply inspecting their sewer, water, and drain lines with our high-tech cameras before there's a problem. Check out Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric at CarpenterColumbus.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Sponsored by Schottenstein Roofing. For top quality and a price match guarantee, visit SchottensteinRoofing.com.
We introduced this last week and excited for it. Our good buddy Jake Trotter joining us on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline every Wednesday at this time. Senior college football writer at ESPN. Hey, buddy, thanks for the time. We were talking before you joined about some of the stuff that's coming out of the Southeastern Conference meetings and some of the conversations having down there about further expansion, and it will all be driven by television networks, your own, and obviously Fox and NBC and CBS and the rest of it. What is your sense as you dip your toe back into these wild waters of where we are with conference expansion and where it could go next?
Well, I don't think that the dust has settled on
I don't even know if realignment is the right word because we're sort of past that. It's a restructuring of college football. And, again, I'm just warming back up. And so I don't know where this is going to end up. I don't know that anybody ultimately does. But I think the model that we currently have, as much as it's changed, is going to continue to evolve at a rapid pace. And it's going to be fascinating to see where it finally lands and we can get some stability back in the sport. Because, it's every year. There's something drastically different every month, something drastically different. I'm getting ready to fly to Oklahoma City later today to cover the Women's College World Series for us. And I'm just thinking about UCLA, who's, got a chance to win the national championship. They have Maya Brady, who is Tom Brady's niece, who's an excellent player, shortstop, leadoff. Think about where they're going to be flying next year to play their games. The model is completely out of control, and it's not just football. And so hopefully at some point we can restore some sanity back to the game. But in the meantime, until we get there, there's, whoever you are, you want to get in the SEC or the Big Ten because that's where the money is right now, and the money is going to continue to concentrate there going forward.
Yeah, and the tricky thing with that is I firmly believe this. I don't think the SEC has an interest in anybody. I think they'd take North Carolina. I know they don't have any interest in Florida State or Clemson or Miami or any of them, even if the ACC does break up. I think they'd take North Carolina and have a great interest in North Carolina. I think the Big Ten would have a great interest in North Carolina. I think the Big Ten has come around a little bit on Florida State and Clemson because I think their television partners are saying, hey, we need more good television shows, and Florida State and Clemson football are good television shows. You mentioned the UCLA softball player. Chip Kelly, former UCLA head coach and now the offensive coordinator here with the Buckeyes, said something that, as you said that, it sparked in my head. He said, let's just do football on its own. Let's just do football on its own. And everybody, the old Pac-12 can be the old Pac-12, the Big Ten can be the Big Ten, so forth and so on. We're past this, obviously. But maybe they could reverse engineer some of it. Do you see a possibility in the next 3 to 5 years, or maybe even sooner, where football is just separate, own governing body, Power 2 conferences, all the money, pay the players, all of it? And would that then get you out of the Title IX problems that are going to come with these payments that they're trying to pay starting next year?
Yeah, I don't know if football can extricate itself from Title IX because it's still going to be part of the universities. So, it's not just a NCAA issue, it's a federal government issue.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I don't think anybody knows how Title IX is going to impact all of this. And I think we're just scratching the surface of how this is going to work, where schools can now take their distribution money and pay players. People I've talked to, it just sounds so convoluted at this point. Who knows? I do think, you brought up an interesting point too. If we go through another round of realignment, which I think we're probably not that far away, depending on what happens with Florida State and Clemson and the ACC, it would be interesting to see who the SEC would prioritize. I do think North Carolina would be very attractive to both conferences. I think UVA would be one to watch as well in there. And then, Florida State and Clemson are, the big boys in football, and I think would make, some sense for the Big Ten, as it wants to expand down into, that part of the country. So, yeah, I think, why stop where we are? I think we could easily get to 20. And then at that point, why don't we just have, an AFC and an NFC?
Correct.
And structure college football that way. It kind of feels like that. That's kind of where I feel like we're getting to, like an NFL model. And how closely it's going to resemble the NFL remains to be seen. But, it definitely feels like with the escalating changes that are happening, that's where this is headed.
Yeah, and I mentioned this earlier, but the SEC put out its some of its television programs this year built around their college football programming, obviously with ESPN and the Southeastern Conference now becoming partners all in. The Big Ten tried to do the same, and I was talking about this, like in the current Big Ten, there are really 7 brands from a television show perspective. You think of college football games as television shows that don't do it. Rutgers, Maryland, Illinois, Purdue, Indiana, Northwestern, Minnesota, none of those rate. So you have to. That's the reason Ohio State's not playing Washington, USC, and UCLA in year one of this league, because USC, the Big Ten, and their television partners, they need Ohio State to lift some of these teams from a television from a ratings perspective. It's really that simple, Jim. It's crazy, but it is that simple. The SEC doesn't have to worry about that. So it's almost like when you think of the SEC and the Big Ten is far more motivated to add quote unquote television shows. The SEC doesn't have to do anything. They're good. They have their 16. They could take North Carolina, but they don't need them, if that makes sense. So if there's going to be expansion, it's going to be driven by the Big Ten, I do believe, again.
Yeah, and I think that's why ultimately the Big Ten was convinced, okay, it really doesn't make any sense, but let's go ahead and take Oregon and Washington. Let's go and take them in because, that does increase, our I think, television capacity. It increases our brand awareness. I mean, those are two. They're not at the level of Ohio State, Michigan, but they're, when you're looking at free agent teams out there, they would be up there. And you're already adding USC and UCLA for the same reason earlier. So why not just package them together? And we're not creating quads now, but you could conceivably do that if you expand it again. So yeah, I mean, it's like I don't think any of this is sustainable. Like you can't have these conferences gobbling up everybody and maintain the status quo. And there's a better way to do this. I think we all agree, and it's just up to the people that make those decisions to decide, okay, like this is out of control. We've got to come up with a better system. Otherwise, you're going to have UCLA playing Rutgers in softball. So I don't even know if Rutgers has a softball team, but assuming they did, that makes no sense. And by the way, you got the Stanford equipment truck team. They're driving to Miami. I mean, it's out of control.
Stanford and Cal are in the ACC, bud. By themselves. I mean, just think about how stupid that is and how ridiculous all of that is. The one thing that's hanging out there is Notre Dame. They're kind of the other thing, right? They've tried to maintain this independence. The ACC has given them this conference alliance. It's the other one that the Big Ten would want, but it feels like the Big Ten doesn't want to. It's kind of like your kids probably aren't dating yet. Your kids are younger than mine, but they're starting to date.
Thankfully, yeah.
They almost want to know the answers yes before they ask. And I feel like that's where the Big Ten is with Notre Dame. They want to make sure Notre Dame says yes before they ask them again.
Yeah, and I think if you're Notre Dame, they have been patient, and I think that's bared out to be the right move because they're always going to have a place. If you're Missouri back in the day, or if you're Oregon, if you're some of these ACC programs potentially. If you're Oklahoma and Texas, I mean, the reason they got in the SEC when they did is because they wanted to, get that money now and not, settle in the Big 12. I mean, you have got to take advantage of opportunities when you get them. There's no doubt. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Who's the favorite down there? Is it Oklahoma again?
Yeah, I mean, Texas is the number one overall seed. They are, outstanding offensively. They got pushed by Texas A&M. Those two teams, by the way, are in the same baseball regional, too. Wow. Oklahoma's probably the slight favorite. They beat Texas in the Big 12 championship. I think it's Oklahoma and Texas in the top tier. Then you've probably got some combination of, UCLA. Oklahoma State is really good this year. Stanford's got an outstanding pitcher who could carry them. And Alabama and Florida playing the SEC, so they're battle tested. The one Cinderella is Duke. 15 years ago, they didn't even have a softball program, and now, they're playing Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's land of the Titans for them. So it should be a fun tournament. In the past couple of years, it's kind of been, does anyone have any chance of beating Oklahoma? They won the last 3 national championships. This year, Oklahoma's a little bit more mortal, so I think we could have a little bit more of a wide-open Women's College World Series than we've had in recent years.
I love both that and the College World Series on the baseball side. They're both awesome.
Oh, I love. So cool. I'm going to be all in on softball and baseball. Now that my Oklahoma City Thunder are out of the NBA playoffs, I'm going to be focused in on softball and baseball.
Great stuff, brother. Good talking to you. We'll do it again next week. Thanks for your time, pal.
All right, Bo. See you, buddy.
That's our buddy Jake Trotter, senior college football writer at ESPN, on where all of this is starting to swirl. And of course, this is the catalyst for this was the SEC Media Days, or not SEC Media Days, SEC meetings. The Media Days will come later in the summer. This is the meetings, but yet everybody's available. It's how they roll. Thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here, and my friends at RCD RV are blazing a trail in the RV industry. RCD now has 5 stores in Ohio to serve you with the best brands, new and pre-owned RVs for every budget. Your summer vacation will be one to remember when you skip the smog and spend your nights under the stars. The beautiful night sky, making those memories with the whole family. They're going to cherish it forever. Visit them at any of their 3 locations in Central Ohio and 5 in the Buckeye State, or online anytime at rcdrv.com.
This is Bob Capace of Worthington Jewelers. We've been creating one-of-a-kind designs for almost 20 years. Our jewelry consultants will help you create your one-of-a-kind design or select from over 1,000 engagement ring options. Shop local and come see us at Worthington Jewelers, where Columbus gets engaged.
Don't miss a minute of the action on the diamond with ESPN Bet. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities, including daily odds boost and home run specials all season long. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Billiards Plus has everything for the master griller in your house. Come to their showroom, open the lid, and feel the difference in their grills. Professional top quality equipment at great prices with a huge selection ready to go home with you. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
The Fan is your home for the Dallas Cowboys.
No, we're not. You can't say that. Take 2.
The Fan is your home of the Buckeyes. Yes, that's right. Same thing, but more playoff success. Now give Big Voice Guy another brandy. Thank you. The Fan.
Good evening, this is your captain speaking. Our GPS flight tracker is on the fritz tonight, so we will be flying blind.
Here in Ohio, if you qualify for a medical cannabis card but still buy recreational cannabis, you're also flying blind, missing out on benefits and tax savings. Find your way to veriheal.com to see if you pre-qualify for your medical cannabis card in less than 5 minutes. VERIHEAL. Veriheal.com.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple of weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
New 2024, up to 72 months Aria, up to 36 months Rogue, and 6324.
Reichert Nissan has an announcement to make. 0% financing is now available for up to 72 months. Take a Reichert Nissan Aria home today and pay 0% for 72 months. But that's not all. Reichert Nissan also has 0% financing on Rogue 2. Visit the Reichert Mega Mall off 270 and 33 or shop thousands of new and certified used at ReichertNissan.com.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
With approved credit. Residency restrictions apply. Offers cannot be combined. Dealer contribution affects consumer cost.
Want to know anything about the Fan's contests, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing?
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
First one up today from a friend of the show, Brandon Marcello. He passed this along from the SEC meetings. Kirby Smart, when asked about a report that he gave Jaden Rashada his blessing in a lawsuit against Florida and Billy Napier. Quote, say what you will, he told me the day before they decided to do the lawsuit. I told him that's between him, his family, and attorneys. End quote. Thing or not a thing?
I believe Kirby Smart. I think that's true. I don't think there's any way that, like, he don't need Jaden Rashada. He doesn't need him. He's loaded. He's going to have the number one pick at quarterback this year in Carson Beck. Don't they have the number one quarterback in the country coming in next year? Like, he's good. He's good. He doesn't need Jaden Rashada. He doesn't need the distraction. I believe him at his word on this. I don't think that he would want, I don't even know if he would have known. I don't know that he would have taken Rashada if he knew, because why does he need this headache?
But it's a lot more college football fun to think rival coach said go sue the other coach.
Of course. But the guy's won 2 national titles. Like, I just don't think that he's not desperate for talent or anything like that. So, like, I don't think he would have taken him had he known he was going to sue him. I think that's in play.
Yeah, Kirby Smart doesn't need this. Like, this is a thing for Kirby Smart that he doesn't need, but not a thing in the big picture. And I believe him. Like, you know, if he announced the lawsuit on a Thursday, so Wednesday Rashada says, Coach, hey, I'm gonna sue Billy Napier and the Florida Collective, and if you're Kirby, you're like, yeah, all right, go with the Lord. Just get out of my office, bud. I got way too much to worry about on this end than you being petty with an NIL collective.
It's like 21 Jump Street. You do have the right to be an attorney if you want. So, okay.
Right.
In a rehab appearance last night at Huntington Park, Guardians outfielder Stephen Kwan was 0 for 3 at the plate with a pair of flyouts, and he grounded out in his last at-bat. Kwan's missed time with a hamstring injury, but is on pace to return to the Guardians when they're back at Progressive Field Friday against the Washington Nationals. Kwan could see some more action with the Clippers this week, taking on the Iron Pigs. Thing or not a thing?
I will push this to you, Mr. Baseball. Is this a thing or not a thing?
It's a really big thing.
Okay.
I think just because the way they've been playing without him in their lineup. I think Columbus got clobbered last night, and the fact that they've got a lot of their producers up in Cleveland right now, I'm really interested to see how the lineup looks come Friday, because you're not going to say to Stephen Kwan, no, you sit out for a little bit.
Yeah.
They got the Nationals in town. It's like, okay, no, you go right back to the top of the order, and then you kind of shuffle things from there. They've been hitting better. They've been winning more, like with him in the lineup than versus him out of the lineup, but he's so productive you can't leave him out.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. He's only hitting 353 now. Whatever happened to when he came on the scene, he was hitting like 800. What happened to that, Stephen Kwan?
Natural regression happens to everybody when you get a little older.
35%? Is that even good in baseball? I don't know. I don't watch the sport. From the New York Post, an Ohio billionaire is planning to take a deep-sea submersible to the Titanic depths to prove the industry is safer in the wake of the doomed Ocean Gate vessel that imploded last year. Real estate investor Larry Connor of Dayton, go Flyers, said he and Triton Submarines co-founder Patrick Leahy will plunge more than 12,400 feet, 2.3 miles, to the shipwreck site in a 2-person submersible. Connor told the Wall Street Journal, quote, I want to show people worldwide that while the ocean is extremely powerful, it can be wonderful and enjoyable and really kind of life-changing if you go about it the right way, end quote. The duo said they want to prove that the trek can be done without disaster, despite the implosion of the Titan submersible in June, which killed all 5 people on board, including OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush. Thing or not a thing?
I just don't. Is it just this idea that, like, when you reach a certain level of success, no one tells you no anymore, so you just keep pressing what you'll get answers to yes for?
Or is
that what it is?
I think you just partially buy things that people can't buy, too.
I guess. Like, I want to do this. Well, you can. I mean, it's going to cost you, but you can. Okay, well, I got a lot of money, so I want to do it. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares about the Titanic?
One interesting.
Why would I care to go down there? I don't want. Well, it's just a ship at the bottom of the ocean. I've seen the movie.
So there is a bit of a rush right now. One of the things I learned at the Titanic exhibit at COSI the other week, because it's like oxidizing in the salt water and everything, it's actually deteriorating to a point where they think in a matter of a few decades, it's just going to be gone. So there is now a bit of a rush to go look at it. But yeah, that's still just more of an excavation thing. And all these guys don't really seem like the history types to me that are going down there for like the purposes of science. They seem to just want to go down there to say they went there. It's just like so ironic because the lesson of the Titanic was you shouldn't build a ship that like with the hubris of man, like just so readily apparent in it. Because all the quotes at the exhibit are, it was unsinkable. Nobody thought that this could happen.
Yeah.
Well, it did. And now people keep trying to go back to it. And it just sounds like you're just flirting with disaster in all this.
Sounds a little bit like the NCAA, right?
Yeah. Billionaires, man. I was going to say, just take your money and go to COSI. They've got the exhibit up. They'll be doing exhibits like that. Like, there you go. You don't have to worry about, imploding.
Like, it didn't seem like
do
a
that
risk.
at COSI.
They did have a bottle of champagne still intact there. And I was like, if they open that up, yeah, I'd try it.
Like, they've got, like, James Cameron, I remember hearing this on a podcast when he was doing the movie, would have, like, plates that every single one of them had to have the exact pattern and the exact stamp that was on them from the Titanic. Like, he made everything so precise. It's like, just put that up for an exhibit and let people go do that. You don't implode there either.
No.
That is what they had at the exhibit.
They had that stuff? Yeah, perfect then. Go to COSI.
Real quick, ESPN says Bronny James is going to remain in the 2024 NBA draft. Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul made the announcement several hours ahead of the midnight deadline. That's midnight tonight. Speaking with the worldwide leader, Paul said, quote, "It only takes one team. I don't care where that team is. It can be number 1 or 58, but I do care about the plan, the development, the team's strategy, the opportunity, and the financial commitment. That's why I'm not doing a two-way deal. Every team understands that," end quote. Thing or not a thing?
You know, talk about hubris. I mean, here's where I was wrong. I really thought, Bronny James probably would have been like a really good example of what NIL could have done. And he probably could have had like a really fun, cool, enriching college experience. He is not a pro. He's not a pro.
He's going to have a bad time in the NBA, yeah.
It's going to suck. I mean, he's got all the money in the world, so it doesn't really matter. But I mean, like, this is going to suck. He's not a professional basketball player at the NBA level. He's not. I don't even know. I mean, he averaged 5 a game at USC last year. When Ohio State was in on him last year, I don't know. I guess they wanted him to play like opposite Bruce. That's kind of what they were hoping for. But I don't know. The whole thing is just odd. It's just odd to me that this is what they're choosing.
Well, and there's just no other names in the NBA draft, so this is getting all the drum up leading up to it. Because I read a story last week about it, and it was multiple sports books say that it's not exactly the most amount of wagers because they were a lot of small wagers, but Bronny at multiple sportsbook is being picked the most as the number 1 overall pick, like bet on in the NBA draft. And it's like, even if it's only $10, guys, like, why? You're just no, he's not going to get picked number 1. It's impossible. It will not happen.
No. And that's how you built all those beautiful hotels out there. That's how they're there.
Right.
All those bets.
Some of the books didn't even have him listed as a number 1 odd. And they were like, well, I guess we have to add him. People are betting it.
Yeah, no question. All right. Final hour, first Friday. Hey, guys, officially endorsed coming up. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
You know that project you've been working on? Just chipping away at it, dreaming of the day you get to show it off? Then, when you're least expecting it, cancer. And finishing that project actually happens. I would know. I've been restoring this car for years, and today I'm giving it to my granddaughter. It's her 16th birthday and 2 years since my cancer diagnosis.
Mom, you finished it?
Happy birthday, boo-boo. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
The delicious ice-cold taste of Dr. Pepper has a lasting effect on people. Lindsay from Sacramento said,
Pro tip, 40 degrees is the perfect temperature for an ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Why is 40 degrees the perfect temperature for Dr. Pepper? We brought in Sue from Duluth, Minnesota to tell us.
Oh, yeah, I know a thing or two about cold. Oh, that right there is the perfect kind of ice cold for Dr. Pepper. I'd share that with my friend Nancy. She likes Dr. Pepper, too, you know. My coldest...
All right, that'll be all, Sue. Having a perfect temperature for your Dr. Pepper? It's a Pepper thing. Inspired by real fan posts.
This offer is only available at Reichert Ford. 0% financing for 72 months on every 2023 Ford F-150 in stock. Take advantage of Reichert's rate before it's too late. Lock in your 0% rate and take a new truck home today. Thousands of vehicles are waiting at ReichertFord.com.
Credit. See dealer for details. N6324.
Exclusively at Reichert Ford. 0% for 72 months is now available on every new 23 F-150 in stock. Hundreds of trucks at ReichertFord.com. We're dealing.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Don't miss the hot deals at the Right Road Flooring Outlet Super Sale. 2 locations, Poth Road in Whitehall and Hebron Road in Heath. Save up to 80% on truckloads of floors and more, including tile starting at 19 cents a square foot. Find a massive selection of laminate, luxury vinyl, and carpet, all drastically reduced. Everything for your next project. 24-month financing is available with approved credit. Hurry, the Right Road Flooring Outlet Super Sale ends June 5th. Dealers welcome.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Columbus Blue Jackets have new leadership. They'll introduce at a press conference today. Don Waddell comes up from Carolina, where he spent the last decade in the front office of the Hurricanes. In Columbus, Waddell will be the Blue Jackets' president of hockey operations, general manager, and serve as an alternate governor. CBJ will hold a press conference at 1 o'clock this afternoon to make it officially official. We'll carry that presser live on the Fan as soon as the festivities begin at Nationwide. On the ice tonight, the Oilers host the Stars in Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Face-off is 8:30. Dallas leads 2-1 and will host Game 5 on Friday. In baseball Wednesday, the Reds host the Cardinals at 1:10. It's the rubber match of their 3-game set in Ohio's Queen City. The series rubber match for the Guardians and the Rockies will take place tonight in Denver. First pitch there is 8:40. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Time for a little Hey Guys. Hit it, fellas.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by Whiskey War by High Bank Distillery. Drink local, drink High Bank.
Yeah, we're talking about High Bank. You're talking about the home of the best blended whiskey in America, 3 years running, located right here in town. Support local and grab a bottle or do ready-to-drink cocktail, the Midnight Manhattan. High Bank's twist on the classic Manhattan. It's a good one. I recommend you just having it ready. Nice little after-dinner drink. Works for everybody. Ready to go. No mixing that cocktail. It's already been done for you. Find High Bank Distillery's award-winning local spirits at a liquor store near you. Learn more about their Whiskey War line in Midnight Manhattan at highbankdistillery.com. Hit it, fellas.
First one today from Doug. He says, hey, guys, with more and more pro sports teams asking cities to pony up to build new stadiums, will/should those tax dollars come with some sort of performance guarantee from the team, i.e. certain in-season success or playoffs? Otherwise, money is owed back to the city.
Yes, Doug. They should. They won't, but they should.
Should go back to the people.
I do think we are, really, the fans. I do think that you are getting to the point. I don't know if you're going to see much in the way of public dollars for big money stadiums going forward. I think you'll be surprised at how the next one that we're going to have to deal with in our state is the Browns. when they build their new palace in Brook Park in Northeast Ohio, which is decidedly not downtown Cleveland. It's up by the airport, actually. And I think you're going to be surprised at maybe how little public funds are used for that, because, quite frankly, they have the ability to do it without much. Versus if they were to try to keep it downtown. So I think you'll see less and less of this going forward. Like what happened, that one that they did in Buffalo might be the last one of those, where it's like a 50-50. That might be the last time where a state or a city ponies up in that way for a team. Unless you find somebody, a city that's just desperate and tries to build one and entice movement in that case. But I would love to see this, Doug. We're never going to see it. You're never going to see it because those who own the sport teams for now still have all the power, or the majority of the power. Our only power is not going to the games. But that's even mitigated because of the money they make off of television.
Yeah, so when you say, I'm not going to go, but you still watch a team on television, that they still get it, but the television is still going to air it, and they're still paid out for it right now, and those numbers are so great. Yeah, I think it's fair for certain tax dollars to go towards the building of some of the infrastructure around a stadium to make sure it connects to the roads of the city, and sometimes there's plumbing and stuff that needs to be done under. Okay, maybe that can be something where it works, but we've seen it not fully across the board, but a lot of times that these come up on ballots that people of the cities are voting these down now. And I think the biggest difference will be eventually it does feel like, and I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, it probably feels like a good thing at first but could end up being a bad thing. There won't be people who can't afford to build their own stadium. Look at who's buying sports teams now.
More and more wealthy.
The pockets that these people have, the groups that they form so that it's multiple people with deep pockets, like those people. And once more billionaires start paying for most of their stadiums or all of it, rich people don't like to get into measuring contests like that where it's like, oh, now you had to get money from the city. They're going to feel embarrassed from that kind of stuff. And they're almost going to be bullied into it. And I think that process has already started. But you still have owners of franchises who just don't have that kind of cash influx, like the Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Bills, where the money is owning the team, and it's all kind of tied up in that. But as less and less of those families exist owning these sports teams, I don't think this will be an issue forever.
I don't know. You did have the owner of the Yankees 3 weeks ago cry poor when they were talking about an extension for Juan Soto. It's like these guys aren't going to change.
Those guys won't. No.
It's incredible. This should be the case to answer Doug's question. I agree. Absolutely tied to performance. It won't happen. And I do think we're at least in for one or two more. If you don't give me money, I will move the team. It just feels like one or two more.
Who's the next? Is there one out there who's feels like they're outdated, who could try to leverage?
Well, Kansas City is kind of doing it by saying they might
Royals,
go hop over the state line and go to Kansas.
The Oakland A's are in the process.
That would be though, I think this is a fair analogy. Kansas City moving to Kansas would be like if the Bengals put a stadium in Covington.
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Already in Kentucky anyway.
Right. So that
not real
kind of is what that feels like to me.
How many more cities are there?
It wouldn't be like Pittsburgh moving to Steubenville, like the Steelers moving to. It's not like that.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be an NFL team. I do think it'll be something with Major League Baseball or
Most
NHL.
of the NBA teams that have come up have been purpose. Yeah, NHL. The worst one just happened. Major League Baseball. The crazy thing is Toronto is sitting there for the NFL. It's kind of been. It's there. That would be a home run. The Major League Baseball has Nashville waiting for it.
Yeah, I guess Salt Lake City has taken an NHL team now.
Yeah, they would take Major League Baseball too. Portland would take Major League Baseball. Yeah.
Well, there are still cities out there, that
not much,
that want them, but yeah, it's not super easy to just say, oh, we'll just move to this city. Well, the other city has to want you too and want to give you public funds.
The San Antonio, Austin area is one. That's the biggest kind of that's the biggest population that doesn't have.
That's what the Bills used, right? Didn't they threaten Austin, the Bills?
It could be. But that's the one to me, the Austin, San Antonio, they're only about 45 minutes, an hour apart. That's one where, if you put an NFL stadium somewhere in there in a suburb of one that you could connect to both, that would go. That's the most population that doesn't have anything. Doesn't have the NFL, rather.
Next one from Gerald. Hey, guys, if you had to choose between Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt, Common Man and T-Bone, Al Michaels and John Madden, or Jeff Rimmer and Jody Shelley to do play-by-play color commentary of your life every day for the rest of your life, who would it be?
It wouldn't be Gus and Joel. I don't need that type of emotion. I would not want.
Look at him go. He's brushing his teeth.
Yeah, I don't want
I'd
that.
take Gus and Joel. I want that.
You
Just
want
in
that
the most
energy?
mundane things.
I think I wouldn't want Mike's judgment. So then, what was the other one?
Al Michaels and Madden and Jeff Rimmer and Jody Shelley.
I mean, that's tight. I mean, Al is my guy. So, like, Al Michaels as my narrator. I don't know how I think Mad would be funny commenting on the kids' stuff. I guess I'll go that way. I'll go old school. I'll go Al and Madden.
I think I'd go
Nance would be perfect. Like, Nance would be I'd like Nance to narrate.
I think I'd go Man and Bone because I think it would just be a little bit more entertaining to hear it all the time from the standpoint of it's probably a little bit more like the Manning cast idea. They're not really talking about what I'm doing. I'm doing stuff, and they maybe mention, okay, now he's outside, and then they go on to some other tangent. So I basically just have a Common Man and T-Bone podcast playing in my head,
in your head
all the time.
As you went through life.
Yeah, and I don't think that's that bad. It would get really. It would probably really bog you down if it was straight play-by-play color commentary all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the older I get, like in my 30s, the biggest fear would be to somebody say, "Oh, PP no worky."
Well, he already says that. You can
not about me.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It's a valid point.
The next one comes from YouTube. You can find the Fan's YouTube page. Just type in 97.1 The Fan. We're live right now. But Rich says, hey, guys, have you ever shared a personal story about yourself or a family member that you wish you could walk back?
Oh, luckily my wife thinks this show doesn't start until 10 o'clock.
So roll along. Second hour of the program.
Plenty of those. I can't remember the exact story I told, but I did tell this a couple years ago. I told a story about NBC that got back to him, and he was embarrassed that I told it. So I can't remember the exact story, but I do remember him being, and I remember feeling terrible that he was bothered that I shared the story. So that's probably the first. I don't remember the exact story, but that jumps into my head. I do remember that.
I don't think there's any like stories that I regret, but I will tell you a weird phenomenon, and this happens with two people I know who are very loyal listeners. Shout out Aunt Lee and shout out my mother-in-law, Angie. But I'll go with Angie on this one because it comes back right into my household. I will tell a story about something I did or maybe something J-Lo and I did together, and she will hear it. And then the next time that Jen is talking to her mother, she will say, oh, I heard that you did this, or I heard about this. And Jen will be like, how do you know about this? And she's like, well, I just heard it on the show. So that's a weird thing when you like say something, and not only does it get back to the person it's about, but it gets back to them from somebody else. And then they're like, what was going on? What was the context of you telling this story? And then it's like, well, there's this thing called Three Things. Happens at the end of it.
There was a time I was giving, I think, both of you chaotic marriage advice that I had no business giving, and my mother was listening, and I just got a text, Eric, what are you saying on the radio right now? I don't know if that was regret, but that was the closest thing I could come to. Whoops, now I got to explain the context of Mom. I think everybody knows, I guess outside of her, it's terrible advice I'm giving.
That's a very tough text to get. What did you just say on the radio?
Because then you sometimes
I've gotten
go
that
like,
from my wife, and I'm like, I don't know. What did I say?
What did I say?
Have you guys ever changed a detail just to make the story easier to tell or just a little bit more interesting? Not quite lying, but just, flexing it a little bit, and somebody in your life is like, that's not how that happened.
No, never that. NBC right now he's in a big habit of like, if I'm a little bit off on something, being like a walking ombudsman.
Yeah.
So if I'm like this just happened. Someone said, well, when's the last time you guys got out and played? And I said, I think I played like a month ago with NBC. And he goes, Dad, it was 2 weeks ago. Like, he interrupted like two adults talking to change it from a month ago to 2 weeks. Like, who cares? That doesn't change the context. It doesn't really matter. So like he's in a big habit of doing that at the moment.
Yeah, and that detail's not the important part of the story.
That's not the important part, dude. Come on.
Isn't he like the servant that followed Marcus Aurelius around? You're like, you're just a man. You're just a man.
One more real quick from Nathan. Hey, guys, what fictional coach would you want to play for, and why is it Coach Eric Taylor?
So I don't know who. I mean, it's clearly Eric Taylor as a fictional coach because Billy Bob's playing the actual coach. He's playing Gary Gaines, so that's the actual coach. It would be
perfect.
I would not. I'll tell you who I wouldn't want to play for is Norman Dale. As much as I romanticize the idea of Hoosiers, like walking into a practice and saying my practices aren't for your enjoyment and not giving me a basketball would be suck. that would really suck. So it's Eric Taylor is probably the best version of what you would want in a coach, the ideal kind of version of it.
Yeah, because he's in a TV show, so you really get to round out the character. That's the problem, is like based on what we know about coaches, there's that like idea that like, yeah, you love the coach that really pushes the guys and then they win the championship at the end. But what if you're not a good team and you have that coach and that's your coach? Like, it just
I've been that guy. That sucks, man.
Yeah, it's not something that so like, yes, all these coaches did push their teams to those levels, and that's why they're revered. And you look at it, I'm thinking, because there's a lot of true stories in these, because like Herman Boone from Remember the Titans came up, but like his first thing is, football is no fun, sir. Like he's just right in your face, and like maybe that would be fun, but how does it get if your team isn't good? So that's why Eric Taylor seems like a well-rounded person.
It'd be Coach Herman Boone from Remember the Titans.
Pretty good. But think about how bad that would suck. Like you
it'd
couldn't
be terrible.
throw the ball.
Yeah.
You've got Ronnie Sunshine Bass, and you got him run option.
Do you know how many feet are in a mile? 5,280. And you were going to hold this football and run each foot.
Yeah. No. There's a lot of good. That one's great. But then the other thing with some of those is there's wild. I think the Friday Night Lights. Jackie Moon. The Friday Night Lights movie is. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I've read the book. It's pretty much on point with the book. The only thing they do in the movie that isn't locked in with the book is the kid that is the running back after Boobie Miles goes down. Corey, I'm blanking on his name. Chris Comer.
Yeah.
They make it seem like he sucks, and like the next year they win state, and he's like the all-state running back. And they make it kind of seem like he's not capable of playing. So yes, losing Boobie hurt big because he was larger than life, but also the kid behind him could really play. It was like an all-state player the next year.
In the book, don't they follow an offensive lineman a little closer? In that is sort of the Chavez character in the movie, who isn't like as big of a thing in the book.
The guy who's Chavez. Well, Chavez is the linebacker. The big guy who's what is he, like the priest or whatever?
Yeah, he's on the defensive line in the
D-line. Movie. There's much more the book has much more detail.
They move some of the positions around just for movie magic, I think.
Yeah. But it's the book's unbelievable. All of those things. It's probably the best example of one intellectual property being perfectly used in 3 different mediums.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, Doug. Doug, you're going to get it. You get the $50 gift card, free distillery tour, tasting up to 10. I was there 2 weeks ago, and they had the double oak. It's right there. It's there for purchase. So that's a good use of your $50 gift card there, my friend. You scoop that up. Stop by High Bank's 2 locations in Grandview, Gahanna. Enjoy their award-winning spirits for your next happy hour. Make your reservation at highbankco.com. We are 100 days to the NFL, slightly less. Time to gear up, kids. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
We see it every day. A guy comes into the men's clinic and guess what? The pills quit working, or they're sick of the side effects. And you know what else we see? Guys not confident in their relationship. At Columbus Men's Clinic, we're the leaders in bedroom confidence. Understanding if you even need ED or low T treatment should be the first step. And the next should be choosing the treatment or treatment combination to build your confidence. Our urologist and physician group is offering professional, modern treatments with success rates as high as 92% and decades of experience. Our doctors are not going to send you an email with what might work for most people. We are results-driven. Concierge. You don't pay for medication, it's included, but you invest in the time it takes to get you where you want to be. We've built an experience with discretion that takes the worry out of going to the doctor. In fact, we've normalized it for guys all over Columbus. Come see our friendly team in Columbus and find out why we've been #1 in men's health for years. Get a consultation and low T blood work with results on your first visit for $99. Get your confidence back in the bedroom and beyond. Go to columbusmensclinic.com and book your appointment today. columbusmensclinic.com.
It's the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. So give your friends something to look at and make this a summer to share and save with a capable Kia SUV like the Sorento, Sportage, Seltos, or Telluride, or a powerful sedan like the fun-to-drive Forte, each backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. And for a limited time, get 1.9% APR for 48 months for well-qualified buyers and $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged 2024 Sportage and Sorento models. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Financing for 24 to 48 months from Kia Finance, subject to credit approval for purchase of a new 2024 Sportage or Sorrento. Excludes hybrids and PHEVs. $2,165 per month per $1,000 financed at 48 months. $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged models must be applied as down payment. Must take delivery by 7/8/24. Limited inventory. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See retailer for details.
Common Man and T-Bone are known for many things. And while great radio ain't one of them, shoving food down their gullets is their specialty. Join Man and Bone for Fat Boy Food Tip.
Live at 3 or on the podcast.
Your home for fat. The Fan.
I joke around and with my wife and call it my bionic knee.
But before Ernest became a patient with QC Kinetics, it was a different story.
I'd go to bed with my knee throbbing, heat, ice. I would get up in the middle of the night to get a drink or something, and I would just be hobbling.
He wasn't able to play on his rec basketball team or work in the yard, but QC Kinetics regenerative treatments turned around the situation without surgery or downtime, using Ernest's own healing properties to help restore his aching knee, now known as Ernest's bionic knee.
I am really happy because I am playing the game that I love so much, and I'm playing with my granddaughter, and I'm gardening, and I'm on my knees, and I'm jumping up. I have a 200-pound dog, and I'm playing with my dog.
Now Ernest is living his best life, thanks to QC Kinetics, and so can you. Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
As someone who has been in education for 30 years, I can tell you teaching is a hard job, but there is no more rewarding career. Ohio's public school educators are building the next generation of community leaders, and Ohio's students need you. Please, consider a career in public education.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association. At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, summer is our season, and we're kicking it off with a free 12-ounce Island Punch smoothie for National Flip Flop Day. Head to your local cafe on May 29th from 2 to 7 p.m. Terms and conditions apply.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
I'm Doppler 10 meteorologist Dylan Robichaud. Today we're going to be looking at a mix of clouds and sun along with a few pop-up showers and storms heading into the afternoon. The best chance of rain will be early this afternoon. High temperatures will be only in the upper end of the 60s. Tonight, get ready for some cold air. We drop down to the upper 40s. That's a look at your latest weather report on 97.1 The Fan.
Tipico Sportsbook is the exclusive online sportsbook partner of Bishop & Friends. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop & Friends.
And we're sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss, fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. A solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss. And as Chopper mentioned earlier, The Fan is now on YouTube. Watch your favorite shows live. Check out videos, YouTube Shorts. How to find us? Pretty simple. Go to 971 The Fan on YouTube, and you will find it. Don't forget to subscribe to The Fan's new YouTube channel as well. I got this morning. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I was too lazy to vet it, so I'm just going to treat it as fact. It was a tweet from, it's not the PGA Tour, but it was one that was similar to that. And it used to be a blue check mark mattered. This one has one, but now they don't matter. You can buy them. Either way, irregardless, here's what it said. That Augusta National is planning to open up Augusta National for play to the public in November for a certain amount of tee times. Now, right away, again, I didn't vet this. This feels like complete nonsense to me. I don't think that there's any reason that they would do it. But that the tee times would start at $10,000 would be what the tee time would cost you. And then what Augusta National would do is they would give that money to charities. You could play Augusta National for one day, like a lottery, $10,000. You play for one day, and that's it. And the money goes to charity because they don't need money. So, first of all, I don't think Augusta National would ever do this. So let's have that be the disclaimer. Second of all, It's way too cheap.
Yeah.
It's way too cheap. The Augusta National tee time to sell out, I think, in like 6 minutes, I think, honestly, it could be like $1 million. I really do.
If it's just
because
like one day of tee
you can't buy your way
times,
in.
yeah.
You can't. Well, this is not going to happen. There's no way this is real. But even if it were real, you can't buy your way into Augusta. So there's people like millionaires, multimillionaires, who have waited or tried, or like maybe it's the bucket list, or maybe it's a dream that they never thought they could ever do, and there's no way to get in there. You got to be invited in. So there's no way that you could, like, you're not skipping the line unless you're invited in by somebody. And there is no line. The line doesn't exist. You can wait forever and never get the invite. So, like, if this were actually happening, if this were actually real, the number would be significantly higher than $10,000 per round. I mean, honestly, I think $1 million they'd sell out in 10 minutes. Really, truly do. I don't think that no hyperbole.
Yeah, because like the type of people who would want to play. I mean, there are people with that. There's too many people who can afford $10,000. I know it's a huge price tag.
Way too many.
But there's too many
Way
people.
too many.
And the only way it would be believable, which is, I agree with you, this story doesn't sound like it's coming anywhere from the truth. But if was somebody that connected with a charity and cared about it that much, but the people of Augusta National, like, if they wanted to pay whatever that would add up to from $10,000, they could just give that to charity. They have that money. They could just. So the whole story, just none of the details really check out. And I think they put the charity thing in there to kind of put it under disguise for a second. That like, oh well, it's for charity, so maybe they would do that. No.
AR agrees with me. No way it's true. There's just no chance. And the number is way too small. What is? Ignore the number for a second. But let's say that 10,000. Take the 10,000 out of it. What is the most you would pay for a sports experience? What's a sports experience you would want that you would pay the most for? Whatever the most is defined by you. Enough to make it hurt. You'd really have to plan for it, have to think about it. You'd have to have a conversation with your wife, significant other. I really would like to do this. What is the first thing that comes to mind that you would say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to do it.
Man, it's weird because there's a difference between what I could technically afford versus just my own cheapness coming through. So
don't worry about the number.
I'm right there with you.
Don't worry about the number.
I just am never.
What's one thing that you would pay an exorbitant amount for to do? It doesn't even have to be in sports. Is there something that you would pay an exorbitant amount to do that would take consideration?
I don't think so. I'm too big on the opportunity cost of just like, I'd rather just keep the money than doing that. I just don't think there's anything out there.
I think it would depend on the opponent, but I think I might go see like the Browns if they played in Germany. Like I might do that.
You do well there.
I think I'd do a World Series, do one of the games up in Cleveland if it ever got to that, which could be this fall, but
yeah,
that's about it. Because everything else, like the television experience is,
Well, think of it from the perspective of, it's basically like a Make-A-Wish thing. Like you could go play a football game at Kinnick.
Yeah, I know. There's definitely things that
you could go play like a baseball game at Progressive, or you could go Field of Dreams and play out there.
I'm just thinking of the amount of things in my life that have come up that have been like, that would be a lot of fun, man. I'd really want to do that, and then be like, yeah, but I don't want to pay that. I do that all the time.
Yeah, I think from it's interesting for me because what I think I would say, the first thing that came to mind and again, this is nonsense, but the first thing that came to mind is something that I can do, and I hope to do at some point, but it probably would involve golf because I can play it with all of the boys, but it probably would not be, as much as I revere Augusta, it would probably be like St. Andrews, like on a perfect day. If you get a perfect day at St. Andrews, like the birthplace of golf, and like with my boys, that would be a pretty remarkable thing. I kind of had a crazy one of these. Like, remember when I went to the Hoosiers gym? Like that was kind of. I just walked in and started getting shots up. That was unbelievable. And all they asked for was a donation. Like I'd seen that sign 1,000 times driving back and forth between Indy, and I saw that sign. And I finally just walked in there and did it, and it was the most. Every time anybody asked me like, "How was it?" I'm like, "You should do it." It's like walking onto a movie set. It's unchanged. And like all of a sudden you're getting shots up in a movie. Like that one kind of had that type of feel to it for me.
I think if like we still had the Rose Bowl from even like the 80s and 90s, it would still work for me. It can go back even further, but it just doesn't have that same allure now. And okay, now it's a college football playoff game and stuff. But yeah, like my team in the Rose Bowl would be something that would be like the top of my list, I think.
It'd be fun to take like one of my little football teams and like play at the Shoe. Like go play like a game.
Well, let's see if we can get that organized.
Just coach them up. Go down to the Shoe and good play.
You know, Nippert Stadium down at UC is just open all the time.
Yeah, and I did say. I mean, we talked about this. Remember that like the Shoe is now open. Like you have to pay. Mm-hmm. But I've always felt like you should be able to just walk in there.
You used to.
I mean, used to be able to.
Back in the 90s, you could just kind of we'd bike down there and go run around.
Yeah.
It's 100 years old, guys. I think it's going to be okay if you let a few people in.
Yeah, it's a win. Yeah, I think it's obviously complete nonsense. But to get me thinking about like what would the number be that I would pay for, and then what would be the thing that I would do with that. We are 100 days until the start of the NFL season, a little less. Some of the big storylines that we'll be paying attention to this summer, and Zach Taylor from Bengals camp coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
O'Reilly.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. The crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar. Every bite is better with Pepsi.
Celebrate 30 years of family fun at the Wilds. Book a cabin stay and a zipline adventure over animal pastures. This is family fun. This is the Wilds. Visit thewilds.org and make memories together.
There's a little slice of heaven in a mountain town escape. A pace of life that's less hurried, more authentic, where people greet you with a smile and experiences feel down to earth, yet elevated. From Appalachian art to wineries and craft breweries, live music to a lively spirit. This is West Virginia. We call it Almost Heaven. Plan your getaway now at wvtourism.com.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or a new golfer, think beyond the green and head over to X Golf Columbus and X Golf Powell. Come experience the most advanced and accurate golf simulators in the world at X Golf. A fun venue with great food, excellent service, and a full bar. You can play around on one of our 50 courses, take a lesson from our PGA Pro, hit the driving range, join a league, or just sit back and sip a beer on the outdoor patio. Book your tee time today at playxgolf.com. X Golf Columbus and X Golf Powell, the home of indoor golf.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app, or listen at home on your smart speaker, or open up the iHeartRadio app, or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the dopes at The Fan.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here, and my friends at RCD RV are blazing a trail in the RV industry. RCD now has 5 stores in Ohio to serve you with the best brands, new and pre-owned RVs for every budget. Your summer vacation will be one to remember when you skip the smog and spend your nights under the stars. The beautiful night sky, making those memories with the whole family. They're going to cherish it forever. Visit them at any of their 3 locations in Central Ohio and 5 in the Buckeye State, or online anytime at rcdrv.com.
When it comes to getting a new roof, are you confident letting just anyone on the roof of your home? I'm Craig Schottenstein, owner of Schottenstein Roofing. Our team is dedicated to delivering outstanding value on every roof we repair or replace. Whether residential or commercial, Schottenstein Roofing meets the needs of every customer. From roof installation and repair to siding and gutters, you name it, we do it. Call Schottenstein Roofing, 614-321-8888 to schedule your free inspection today. Go to schottensteinroofing.com.
The countdown to Miss Twin Peaks 2024 is on, and voting for Miss Popular is officially live. Head over to MissTwinPeaks2024.com to learn more about the contest and cast your 5 votes for your favorite Twin Peaks girl.
Grab life by the chicken fingers and savor the day with hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that secret cane sauce that makes everything that much better.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Right now during Cheap 4x4 season, well-qualified lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2024 Jeep Compass Limited 4x4 for $379 a month for 42 months with $3,837 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra. No security deposit required. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Stellantis Financial Services. Extra charge for miles over 35,000. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 6/3/2024. Jeep is a registered trademark.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
100 days yesterday from the start of the NFL season. Ravens at Chiefs on Thursday, September 5th, 8:20. Browns, of course, open September 8th against the Cowboys at home, and the Bengals kind of wade into the season. They get the Patriots at 1 o'clock at home on that side of things. Bengals at OTAs this week. As of now, no Jamar Chase, no T. Higgins. Jay Morrison, I think, going to join us tomorrow on that. Zach Taylor, available yesterday, had this to say on Chase and Higgins' absence. Quotes, they're still working hard elsewhere. They'll be back at the right times. The beauty is we know those guys. We know that they're about and that they'll be ready and focused when it's time to come back. The Bengals are going to conduct OTAs through Thursday and again next week, June 3rd to the 6th, and the team's off-season is going to conclude with the mandatory minicamp. That's the one to kind of pay attention to. That's June 11th through the 13th. This is all backed up a week because of the way June fell in the calendar. Like normally, NFL mandatories would be next week, first week of June, they're out. But because of June falling like at the end of this week, what is it, Friday?
Yeah.
Whenever it is. So that's why it's pushed
Saturday's
back
the first,
weeks.
yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's why it's pushed back.
Well, and another thing to keep an eye on for that mandatory minicamp, just to remember that. Remember, T. Higgins has been tagged and has not signed that franchise tag tender. So he's not under contract. He doesn't have to go to that still. But Jamar Chase would be missing out on something officially if he didn't go to that.
And, like, we still haven't paid, so that you think about the Higgins part of it, like Justin Jefferson's not paid. So Justin Jefferson is not, Jamar Chase is not going to get paid until Justin Jefferson gets paid. He's a year behind him. And Jefferson's going to reset the market, and then Chase will try to reset that. But those things aren't going to happen until Jefferson happens first.
Right, because currently A.J. Brown just reset the market, right?
He reset it, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Jefferson's going to be above that.
Yeah. The reality of this is, like, if you're coming back from injury, like the case in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson and certainly the case with Joe Burrow, there's value in these OTAs, right? If you're working in a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive line coach, that type of things, which is happening in both places, then there's some value in some OTA stuff. And for the young guys, there's a ton of value for them, for the rookies, for the early young players, a ton of value. Outside of that, they don't, to Zach's point, he doesn't need to see Jamar Chase do anything. Kevin Stefanski doesn't need to see Myles Garrett do anything. It's just not critical to what you're trying to build at this time.
Yeah, and I think it goes beyond coaches. Like, it would just be a bad look to, like, admonish a guy when he doesn't go to something that is optional. But I also think
it's us that do it. It's the media that does it.
Yes.
We're the ones who notice it. The coaches don't care. They're not talking about it. And they make the media available. The media goes in there and goes, "Where's Jamar? Where's T?" And then the coaches have to answer for it. But, like, the coaches don't care in most instances. I promise you, nobody in Cleveland's going like, "Oh, it's too bad." Would they want Myles there? Yes, but they don't care.
I feel like
fine.
In some ways there might be times where coaches say, depending on what the draft class looks like or the new guys that you're bringing in, maybe in free agency or something, that, wow, it's nice that we don't actually have to, like, carve out time to make sure Jamar Chase gets reps in May. Something that doesn't need to happen anyways, and you can just focus on the players who are acclimating to their new NFL digs.
Yes. That's the biggest thing right, is you get the new players, whether they be rookies, whether they be undrafted free agents, whether they be newly acquired players, just to get used to everything before you start hitting, before you start to get, some of the other players to come in that have their other storylines. Like, this gives new guys a chance to meet the media. This gives new guys a chance to get acclimated. This gives, players to do install before everything else. Because once, like, Higgins and Chase come to town, then nobody's paying attention to Andre Iosivas. We're not really.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because, for especially on the Brown side of things. Like, for the longest time, you were looking for like somebody in minicamp to like blast. Like, wow, maybe this guy could play. They don't really have any spot for anybody to play. I mean, Hall might be able to play, and he's going to play in the rotation at defensive tackle, but like, he doesn't have to. They don't really need him to. There's no rookie that's going to insert themselves into the two deep or going to be a critical part of that roster. It's just not the way they're built, and the Bengals are in a very similar spot. I did see this, the Nico Collins deal, 3 years, 72.75. That kind of feels like a benchmark with Higgins. Like that type of deal.
Like that's where the guys who aren't resetting the market are, where that other market. That's
where if you have
it.
an elite trait, you're not like a home run number one, but you're really good. Like that's the type of deal that if Higgins were to resign in Cincinnati, and I don't even know if it's possible or plausible, that would seem to be like the type of number that would get that done.
Yeah.
If go ahead.
If they get Higgins on the franchise tag, which obviously to play this year, he's going to have to sign it eventually. And I think that deadline is technically in November, and then his season would be over if he didn't sign it by then. But it'll be really interesting to see next offseason for the Bengals. Do they say that was the year we went for it? We franchise tag Higgins. We kept this trio with the wide receivers and Joe Burrow together for one more year, and we made a huge push. And are they just going to let T. Higgins walk, which I see as a possibility? The second franchise tag is like $28 million next year, so it's just exorbitantly high, and I don't think they're going to do that one, but it's a technical third option. Or did they pass it along a year long enough so that they can work it out at the same time with Higgins and Chase and really in real time give the guys what they always like to say about, we like to work together and make sure that we can keep players together. If you're doing those negotiations simultaneously, it might be easier to sell it to the two guys. And I think that would be their hope, but I don't know if it's something that's achievable.
It doesn't strike me that way.
I think if you can capture a ring, then you can play come on back and let's run this back at a much steeper discount.
Yeah, I think the ring, I think
that's
they're all in. It's been 2 years. They're 2 years in the window. The big thing for them is going to be Burrow. Zach was asked about Burrow's health and kind of him working himself back after missing yet another season. Here's Zach on that.
Until you've seen him throw, it's hard to say this is what we expect. So obviously there's a lot of conversation with him, just making sure we're not overdoing anything. He's always been a great communicator. Our training staff does a great job with Matt Summers and Nick Cosgray and all those guys. So I feel really good about where he's at. I didn't set the bar for expectations. He's been accurate. He's been on time. He's throwing with great velocity and power. You'd have to ask him what he thinks of his performance exactly, but I like what I see right now.
I feel like the most important thing with Joe Burrow is not how is he coming out of this injury, because, presumably they had the wrist procedure and he's had a lot of time to come back. It looks like he's throwing all right, but what has changed to make sure he doesn't do that again? Doesn't get another knee injury, doesn't get another wrist injury.
He talked about putting on the weight, which I love Joe. I don't agree with that. Like the notion that if you're bigger, you're not going to get hurt. I don't see any data that shows if you have more muscle, you get hurt less.
Right.
So to me, that correlation I'm not a fan of. I just think like, for him, he's just going to have to be smarter with the ball. And what I mean by that is not hold it as long, not try to make something out of nothing always. Like he's going to have to live to play another down. He's going to have to learn what Brady learned, what Manning learned. Like the most valuable commodity for him is his availability. And in order to do so, he's got to stay on the field and not take hits and not allow for himself. And he's notorious for this. Because why? Because he's got Jamar Chase. Yeah. He wants to give another split second to see if he can get open. But like, give up some of those versus giving up half of seasons.
That's a good point, because now like Joe Burrow is near this age, but everybody's aging. And what happens to those guys that stick around into their late 30s, their 40s in Tom Brady's case? They learn to get the ball out faster than anybody else in the NFL. If you look at the time, once it was kind of gone, but Ben Roethlisberger was still playing, the reason why he was able to still play is because, boom, ball snap, boom, get it out. And he doesn't need to quite get to that level, but needs to take in some of those concepts.
You forget, like, Ben at the end was check down Charlie.
Yeah.
He could wait to get rid of it.
Just throw right away.
Gone. Out. Yeah, you got to do that. The other thing that I have with, like, the weight issues, like, most athletes, as they get older, Brady's a good example of this. LeBron's a good example of this. Like, if they want to keep playing, they get lighter. Yeah, they get lighter.
Burrow had talked, this was a couple years ago, how the window was his career, but with each injury, the window closes that much quicker.
Oh, I think, look, his approval rating's 1,000%, Burrow's is, and it's none of it is his fault. But he is now an injury concern. He is injury prone.
Anytime he hits the turf and is a little slow to get up, everyone will hold their breath.
Yeah,
he
and
goes
that
down in
goes back
camp
to
and
college.
someone gets a cell phone video of it.
Remember the calf strain last year?
Yeah, you thought it was done, season over. And then he battled all the way back, and then another thing happened. Yeah, you're right. He had 2 injuries last year. It wasn't just one. He had 2 separate injuries last year, varying degree of severity. But, man, he needs a healthy season. When he has them, they either go to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game. So that's the job. It is the first Friday. Get your officially endorsed and 3 things coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
My guys at Germain Lexus are getting ready for the Memorial. What they do every single year is let the golfers drive around in beautiful Lexuses for the week. Then they take those cars and sell them to you. You could be driving Rory's car. The Germain all-month-long celebration's going on right now. You can get great deals like this one. 2024 RX 350, 36-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, $49.99 down, $519 a month. I just picked up my brand new RX 350 a few weeks ago. It is plush. Germain Lexus of Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Big things are happening on the east side.
We're ready to deal. Come negotiate during May's Dealin' Days at Lindsay Honda. Lower payments, better financing, more value for any trade. Shop lindsayhonda.com and see new Hondas with thousands in savings, plus many other deals. We'll work hard to get you a payment you can afford. Now, during May Dealin' Days at Lindsay Honda.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference.
See lindsayhonda.com for program details.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. I need you to listen up real quick. One of the largest manufacturers in the United States for CPAP machines recently announced they're suspending sales of all their breathing machines over problems with the devices. Millions of Philips Respironic ventilators and CPAP machines are being recalled now that they've reached a plea agreement with the FDA. That all doesn't sound good. And maybe you're thinking, yeah, that's why I'm not going to deal with my sleep apnea because I don't want to have a bulky CPAP. Well, this is where you need to call my guy, Dr. Mark Levy. Dr. Mark Levy has dedicated his practice to helping people who suffer from sleep apnea, and he can create a custom mouthpiece for you that stops your snoring and effectively treats your sleep apnea with no CPAP machine. Yeah, he's in network with most major medical insurers and is a Medicare provider too. This is Dr. Mark Levy's passion. He's been doing this a long time. He wants to help you with your sleep apnea and also make it so your partner doesn't want to murder you dead because you snore so much. So do what I did. Call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or book an appointment online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand, listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Ohio Mulch Landscape Supply.
Hi, this is Ron Frost with Ohio Mulch, and here's to Ohio Mulch celebrating 40 years of making the community a greener and more beautiful place, one garden at a time. Don't miss out on the opportunities to elevate your outdoor space and to be part of a journey towards the next 40 successful years. Check out our promotions online at ohiomulch.com.
Ohio Mulch Landscape Supply. Greener, greener, better.
We see it every day. A guy comes into the men's clinic and guess what? The pills quit working, or they're sick of the side effects. And you know what else we see? Guys not confident in their relationship. At Columbus Men's Clinic, we're the leaders in bedroom confidence. Understanding if you even need ED or low T treatment should be the first step. And the next should be choosing the treatment or treatment combination to build your confidence. Our urologist and physician group is offering professional, modern treatments with success rates as high as 92% and decades of experience. Our doctors are not going to send you an email with what might work for most people. We are results-driven. Concierge. You don't pay for medication, it's included, but you invest in the time it takes to get you where you want to be. We've built an experience with discretion that takes the worry out of going to the doctor. In fact, we've normalized it for guys all over Columbus. Come see our friendly team in Columbus and find out why we've been #1 in men's health for years. Get a consultation and low T blood work with results on your first visit for $99. Get your confidence back in the bedroom and beyond. Go to columbusmensclinic.com and book your appointment today. columbusmensclinic.com.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Get your air conditioner fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling, 1-800-COOLING.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Our top men are working on everything except this show. This This is Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese. What are we on the poll?
Daily Fan Poll asks, who would you consider to be the Cincinnati Bengals' biggest rival? Browns, Steelers, Chiefs, or Ravens? Right now, 44% say the Browns would be considered Cincinnati's biggest rival. I mean, it's like fly in windshield because Joe Burrow can't beat the Browns, but I get it. 34% say Steelers, 11% say Chiefs, just 8% say the Ravens.
I wish I could extrapolate what other fans voted for versus what Bengals fans voted for, which we can't get out of just like the Twitter poll. Yeah. But I think that would be like, is that Browns fans all saying, well, of course the Bengals care the most about Cleveland? Or is that Bengals fans saying that?
And the other thing, like if it was real, what you'd want to know is like the age of the fan. You know, like depending on how old you were, depending on which one you hated the most. The
fan poll needs to be real market research from now on.
I mean, let's get that done.
Get on it, Shark.
What are you doing? Get that thing done. All right, it's a First Friday. Hit it.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday. Officially endorsed because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
Sponsored by Sugar Shannara Accident Attorneys. We go to war for you at warforyou.com. That's warforyou.com.
We drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good. Because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar. Because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
Wright Thompson wrote a great book with Julian Van Winkle called Pappy Land, and it goes to what he did to save the brand and then what it's become now. And it's a great book. I really recommend it. But in it, there's a great anecdote where Julian's son is with Julian, and they're at a white tablecloth in Manhattan. And he goes up. They see that they have Pappy Van Winkle 20, and he goes up and he says, I'd like Pappy 20 on the rocks with a twist. And the bartender says, well, I can't do that. I can't put that whiskey on rocks. I'm not going to put lemon in that whiskey. And Julian Van Winkle's son says, well, that's how he drank it, and that's how his grandpa drank it, and his grandpa was Pappy. And so if it's good enough for them, it's good enough to be poured that way. So I'd never done it this way until I read this passage. It's really good. It's really good. So obviously it doesn't have to be Pappy. It could be any bourbon of your likings. Certainly, more bourbon than rye. A more wheated mash bill would make a little bit more sense because that would be similar to a Pappy mash bill. But a twist of lemon on rocks is a very refreshing way to enjoy some of the bourbon in the whiskeys in the summer. I think you'll enjoy it. I certainly did. With like a little tiny bowl next to you of Hub's peanuts also wins. So if you want to go a food and drink, I officially endorse both of those on this fine First Friday. Time for 3 things.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
This is a real conversation that I had last night with my wife. She goes, the painters are coming tomorrow. To which I said, for what? She said, we're painting the basement. I said, we are. She goes, yeah, we talked about it. I said, well, I remember you talking to me about maybe potentially down the road wanting to paint the basement, but I don't remember it being greenlit. And she's like, well, they're coming tomorrow. It's too late. So fast forward to this morning. The painter comes into the house. I said, I just found out about this last night. He goes, it's funny. It's been on my books for 2 months. They're diabolical. Women are diabolical.
You just have a bunch of people telling you what's going on in your life and your house.
Dad,
that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Jeez. 2 months ago you booked this? I don't even remember a conversation.
First one up for me, and this one I'm actually looking for any advice from people out there. So Kit the dog, she wants to eat the lawnmower and the weed whacker when they're running. She's not like afraid of them just standing there, but it's when they're running, and that's obviously an issue. But on a day like yesterday, I mowed the lawn yesterday. It's fine when I'm in the front yard. I can lock her in the fence, and it's all good. But then in the backyard, I can't get her away from me. And short of the weed whacker actually like hitting her in the face, which I don't want to do, so I have to put her inside. Is there any way to get the dog away from those power tools, or does she just have to be inside while I'm mowing? Because she wants to be outside. She'll just sit by the door the whole time and watch me.
Buddy does that with the blower. Like I've got a high-speed blower that he barks at.
Yeah.
But there's no.
Yeah, she's afraid of that one too, but I don't really care because
that's fine. Yeah. So she's probably equating the noise the same as the blower with the weed whacker.
She does the same thing with the vacuum, and yeah.
Freeze peanut butter put it on a plate, tape the plate to the wall. That's how I can get ready to do most things. Rothman and Ice are going to have the Don Waddell press conference at 1 o'clock. We talked at the beginning of the show about how, like, the old news guys, they would come in, approve the script, approve the B-roll, and then they would roll on it. AR is back there doing some serious journalism, like Big J journalism, trying to get Waddell on the program, the actual program on the phone, sometime after he does his press conference. So a lot of Waddell on the show coming up here at noon.
That's a good job at AR. Number 2 for me, I saw today was Eric Davis's birthday, the former Cincinnati Red, and the Reds put a picture of him up. And that, I know how revered the Big Red Machine is, but Eric Davis in that Reds uniform, to me, is the coolest the Cincinnati Reds have ever been. That's it. That's the look.
Bo, I wanted to share this with you, but also our listeners who enjoyed our conversation yesterday about what's the best end of high school movie. Now, this one, because of the movie we talked about, it's not an end of high school movie. It's actually a beginning of college movie, but obviously around the same time. It's also directed by Richard Linklater, so it's seen as sort of a spiritual sequel to Dazed and Confused. It's called Everybody Wants Some. It's the fall of 1980 at a small Texas college, and this new freshman comes in, and he goes to what is essentially like the baseball fraternity house, and all the guys just pal around, and it's very similar in vibe.
What the hell is this?
Yeah, it came out in 2016.
Glenn Powell's in this?
Glenn Powell is one of the characters in it. Yeah. Right now, it is currently streaming on MGM Plus, which for some reason I pay for and have access to. J-Lo must have wanted to see a show, but you can rent it for less than $5 on Prime.
I mean, I'm going to watch this tonight, probably.
There you go. I watched about half of it yesterday because I just happened to see it and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Plus, the music then gets into the 80s. It's called Everybody Wants Some, so there's some Van Halen in there too, which is right up my tree.
How about that?
Terry Miners of 840 WHAS in Louisville had this. Charges against Scottie Scheffler will be dropped today. The agreement stipulates both sides agree not to pursue any legal action related to the ramifications of the May 17 arrest. It sounds like there's going to be a press conference at 1 o'clock. Don't listen to that. Listen to Don Waddell. But they will have that in Louisville, and it looks like we are getting to a resolution today.
I think the technical phrase for that is, well, yeah, duh. Number 3 for me, I can report Goat Yoga was canceled.
Oh, man.
Rain, soggy fields, Goat Yoga canceled for NBC.
Okay, so Goat Yoga, lower standards than the Postal Service. Got it.
That's right. Lower standards.
Last one for me. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Michael Jordan, he's narrating this new Gatorade ad, and they're bringing back the "Is it in you" tagline for it. Okay, it's a cool little Gatorade ad. But really the best one ever, and it's probably just because I was a kid, but it was for Gatorade Rain. And they did multiple athletes in multiple sports, but I always remembered the Kevin Garnett one where it started to rain on a basketball and then it started to expand and he basically hatched out of it. Bring back that, but they did at least have the neon Gatorade sweat in the ad. Caitlin Clark also in it.
Before you leave here today, go Google "Be Like Mike" Gatorade ad.
I've seen that one with the kids singing and everything, right? Yeah.
I don't say this often. Good job out of Major League Baseball. Starting today, Negro League statistics will be integrated into the Major League Baseball database.
Josh Gibson's got 800 home runs, right?
He's a leader in batting average, slugging percentage, and now OPS.
They said they have probably about 70% of the stats they feel comfortable with, but there's incomplete games or things that don't line up sometimes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Enjoy your first Friday, everybody. Rothman and Ice coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
There are now 6 look-ahead lines available for the Buckeyes this fall. This action update brought to you by Tipico, gambling from 1-800-GAMBLER. Ohio State opens up a 50.5-point favorite over Akron in the opener. The Buckeyes are listed as a 24-point favorite over Iowa, a 1-point dog to Oregon, 25.5-point favorite over Nebraska, a 3-point road favorite at Penn State, and a 10-point favorite over Michigan. For your Tipico action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and I work for Meijer. People always ask, why do I shop there? It's because I can get great quality and value in one stop. Like this week's hottest deals on locally grown asparagus and select cuts of pork. Plus, I can earn 50 points per gallon of gas pumped at any Meijer Express through June 1st with M-Perks. Meijer has all I need in just one stop, and the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Generation Radio, classic hits, original artists. Saturday, June 15th, the Columbus Commons. Join Jay DeMarcus of Rascal Flatts, Jason Shepp of Chicago, and Steve Barone of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as they bring you the biggest classic hits of all time. Live on stage, the hits of Rascal Flatts, Chicago, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and more. Generation Radio with the Columbus Symphony. Tickets on sale now at C-Bus Arts Ticket Center or picnicwiththepops.com. Presented by Nationwide Picnic with the Pops.
The delicious ice-cold taste of Dr. Pepper has a lasting effect on people. Lindsay from Sacramento said,
Pro tip, 40 degrees is the perfect temperature for an ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Why is 40 degrees the perfect temperature for Dr. Pepper? We brought in Sue from Duluth, Minnesota to tell us.
Oh, yeah, I know a thing or two about cold. Oh, that right there is the perfect kind of ice cold for Dr. Pepper. I'd share that with my friend Nancy. She likes Dr. Pepper, too, you know. My coldest...
All right, that'll be all, Sue. Having a perfect temperature for your Dr. Pepper? It's a Pepper thing. Inspired by real fan posts.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar.
See for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.